Naghahanap ka ng saysay sa araw-araw na pamumuhay, paikot-ikot na panahon.
So, we're not expecting anyone from Naga kung mayroon silang brownout.
You mean to say the entire Naga block will be, ano?
I do not know. It's just the information that I got from Totoy. So, importante yung record mo.
For the whole, ano ba? For the entire 6 years? Hindi naman.
6 years? 6 hours. Okay yung ano mo, may political undertones.
Ayos, siyempre, di ba? Dapat, ano, magtawag nito.
Nablock ang Naga for 6 years?
Oo daw eh.
Ons.
Yes.
Last Saturday, we had a bamboo planting in the Arbor Day. Dito sa I visited the bamboo farms. One
Which farm is this?
Ito sa Pililya, sa may Pililya.
Okay.
Yung malapit dun sa...
Nakulang farm.
Oo, malapit sa windmills. And we're looking at a 4-hectare area also para sa mountain area ng Antipolo. Kasi marami diyan mga pag-aari ng that's still part of Sierra Madre. Kaya marami yan.
Rene, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Rene is a fellow in our IMDM-SDPI, so also a graduate of AIM, Master in Development Management course. So magkasama kami ngayon. And Rene, thank you for joining me. Back up ko yan.
Okay.
Hi, Rene.
He's Bicolano, ha? Taga-Naga yan, classmate ko since elementary.
Ay, talaga?
Schoolmate, classmate, yan.
Anong batch sa AIM si Rene? Kabatch mo rin?
Hindi, earlier yan.
89 ako.
89.
89. Ako, 2000 ako. Pumasok 2003.
Di ba
2002.
dalawang program, main programs yan? Yung program mo?
NBA at saka. Marami ng programs ngayon.
Yeah, pero dalawang main eh, di ba? Yung isa yung sa'yo.
Yung MBM at saka MDM. Yan yung two main ones.
Yung sa'yo, Pons, ano ba?
MDM. Development Management.
Okay. Yung sa'yo, Rene, anong batch?
Same.
The same yan.
MDM din ako.
Aha. Yung wife ko ata, MBM ba yun? Wife ko, Jing, she was Jing Noel before. Kabatch niya si Salceda.
Ano ba? Also,
Anong batch ka ba, Gigi? 2010?
bata-bata si G.
I entered 90. So 9036534 ako. Tapos
9-0 OMG.
Oh my God. Woo!
tapos nag-MBA ako ng I think 99.
Dinosaurs na kita. Relative to G.
Kaya nag-MBA, Gigi?
In UP din kasi na-miss ko lang yung campus. Yun lang. Oo.
Ang student number natin, 77. Hindi pa na-conceive si Gigi di ba?
Hindi naman. Pinanganak na ako niyan.
77?
Mga 4 years old ako niyan.
Okay.
I know.
Professional na. So where are you now connected, Gigi?
My business is advertising and digital. So kami gumagawa ng campaigns for brands like Uniqlo, Mentos,
Basta,
Green
na-recruit
Cross.
natin si Gigi to do yung ating IEC.
So doon ako pwedeng tumulong. So branding, communications, ganyan.
Pero Gigi, you graduated what course?
Film. Film and Audiovisual Communication. So under Mascom yan.
Mascom, UP.
Gusto mo sana mag-artista.
Hindi, gusto ko maging boss ng mga artista. Ganun.
Ayun. Director.
Yan. So
Ay,
yun. So I went into advertising. Ganon.
Although-
Hannah.
Yeah,
Hannah.
Hannah. Hannah is the
Hannah,
president
okay.
of our funds.
Student.
Hannah is the president of our students.
Good afternoon.
Good
Hannah.
afternoon,
Hello,
sir.
Hannah.
Hi,
Afternoon po, sir.
Hannah.
Are you in UP now?
No, sir. I'm currently in Sorsogon City po. Pero in about 3 months po, babalik na rin
Face-to-face
po
na.
kami ng campus.
Mas
Okay.
masaya, di ba?
At
Mas
least
okay.
walang brownout sa Sorsogon.
Ano, sir? Lagi po.
Hindi ngayon kasi today. Mukhang walang
Wala
participants sa
nga po.
Naga. Oh.
When is your next, when is your opening of classes, Hannah? School year.
I think, sir, it's September 5 po sa calendar po namin. September 5.
So ano kayo ngayon? Bakasyon ng grande.
Sa mga hindi po nag-mid-year, bakasyon po.
Watch ka doon.
Actually, bako ko lang sa UP, sa Mapua ko.
Okay.
Kaya lang nung paglaog sa Mapua 1991, tinatag ko so mayon pagiribang Bicol noon sa Mapua. Then we joined the Bicol Students Congress. Duman ko na na sila, yan Ibalon, sila Sarge. Actually kan panahon ni ito active kami sa mga sports fest. Diyan pigaganap sa Indo sa UP 1991.
Don.
Yes, Sarge. Kumusta?
Long time see.
Yes, 1996 ulat ng pagirilingan. Siguro sa Adamson ka ito.
So, let me also welcome Boy at saka si Albert.
Taga-uwas yan si Don. Akong nag-invite sa iya digdi. Nagka-istorya na kami dati and he expressed interest sa project dahil may mga mga rice farms na bako ng masyadong productive ngunyan. So gusto niya magdangog, maaraman kung
Welcome, Don.
Thank you.
Boy, batchmate ni Kantugan ko si Boy. Kumusta na po?
Maray. Okay,
Nag-iilingan
man.
pa ka mo ni JJ.
Ay, bihira. Pag nag-uli.
Kaya sa kanya niya. Manila.
Anong oras sa Indoboy, tabi?
Alas 11. Napaturog na nga ni ako. Maringani may alarm.
Madali ng oras mo pa de. Pag alas 12 na pala, ha?
Iyo.
Saan ka based?
Yaon ako digdi sa Edmonton, Canada.
Canada.
May mga bamboo man dyan, tabi?
Imported.
Si Don, si Boy, ang natin, financier.
Boy, nakitang tayo nagilingan, Boy.
Network yan, networking.
Ibaga Albert.
Ka nagkukurang.
Boy is a past president of the student organization. In fact, I kept on saying, Boy was the president when I joined UP Ibalon. Tabi, di ba, Boy?
Yes.
Iyo.
Okay.
So it was during his incumbency when the best batches of UP Ibalonians joined the group. Tama?
Agree.
Kasali ako dyan. Kasali ako dyan.
Oo, kasama ka.
Absentee kaya.
Marami. Si Sarge Colambo also. Was president for what? 10 years? Ano pa de? As student president? Albert?
1 year lang.
Si Sarge Colambo was president for 10 years sa UP Student Organization.
sa dorm council lang.
Sorry.
And by the way,
Hindi ka para pwede umabot ng 10 years sa
TG,
7 lang ako sa UP.
TG,
Yes, sir.
may isa raw pa kitang attendee na dahil mo na-mention, dahil mo na-acknowledge pa, the lovely wife of Boy Oliva.
Oo nga hindi ko pa nakikita yung
Nagpapadagog si Cora?
Hindi si Cora. Hindi ko pa nailing so beautiful video profile pic.
She was president also.
After you,
Cora, hello.
after Boy, di ba?
Tapos bagay na bagay sinda,
After
no?
Boy.
Bagay na bagay sinda. Si Cora, apelyido Palma. Tapos si Boy Oliva. Di Palma Oliva, Palm Olive.
Oy, we have already a very lovely former mayor, the loveliest lady mayor of the entire Albay.
Yeah.
Bew.
Yeah, my prima Agnes, M. Perez Di Coco.
Bem. Yes.
Agnes. Nare-recognize mo na yung backdrop ko.
Kipitoy.
Ini dahil sa ligaw
Di ko
ini.
naggarop ma-remember. Good afternoon to all.
Yan ang wishing well duman sa bamboo setong sa ligaw.
Ay, oo. Yeah, with the water. Oh,
No, correct.
nahiling mo yan sa post ko, kaya nagduman ka.
Yung nga ni, kaya hindi naman lang ko yan. Maray na. Good afternoon. Isa ni si Jiro. Jiro.
Yan, si Jiro. Can you put on your video, please, Jiro?
Student yan. Bachelor.
During our time, si Albert Molina was the most macho president, former president of UP Ibalon. With the entry of this fellow, he stole the distinction from Albert. So he became the most macho former president now of UP Ibalon. Oh. Pakita mo yung mukha mo. Ano? Nawala tuloy.
Ayun, ano sa top.
Nahiya. Yo!
Ayan.
Ayos, ayos.
Ayan.
Taga-uwas man yan.
Taga-uwas.
Yes,
Yeah.
and magna cum laude, ha?
Wow.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Yaon sa ika ko niyan.
Sa Cavite.
Cavite.
Trias.
Kanila. Uy, gulpi bagang bambo dyan sa Cavite.
Iyo.
Yan, okay, gulpi ka ng experience dyan. Isa pa. Si Anton.
Yaon na, yaon na.
Ayan nga ni, dahil pa nagpapaano, video niya eh.
By the way, si Jiro had also another distinction of being invited, tama ba? To be a what you call this, a commencement speaker, padi, of the high school. High school ba? Or
High school. Bicol Regional Science High School in Ligao.
In Ligao.
Alright.
Yeah.
Ano tinapos mo, Jiro?
Civil engineering.
Oh, yeah, Asel. Asel, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Asel, i-assign ka as co-host man, ha?
Okay lang.
Yan ang mga beauty ka-batchmate ko. Asel, pakita ka nga.
Si Asel ang Bea Alon. Si Asel ang Bea Alon.
Gayon ng background.
Sa Sagada yan.
Sa inya, Irigan o Mayon, Laguna.
Somewhere. Anyway.
Sagada ano? Asel, Sagada yan.
Okay.
Actually, si Asel sometimes uses the profile pic of Bea Alonso.
Ganun ba?
And the funny thing is, we wouldn't notice the difference.
Bew.
O yun na yung kabatch mo, si Asel, if you haven't noticed, andyan yung kabatch mo, si GGTV. Oh.
Kilala ko si Asel.
Oo nga, di ba kabatch kayo?
Nauna lang yata siya ng 1 taon.
Yun!
1 year lang na Asel.
Kami ni Asel ang magka-batch. Ano Asel?
Iyo.
Iyo, kita. Saka si Buyo, saka si Cora, mga love team ito kan panahon ta.
Hello, boy.
That was about 5 years ago.
Mga bulero talaga kita.
Inseparable yan si Boy, si Manay Cora kay to, grabe.
Yeah.
Pero maringan ito day pang cellphone kay ito no boy. Day pa ka muna kukuhaan ang ki picture na paidara sa mga parents din do kay ito.
Alright. Sige, while we're waiting for the others, let me just time check. It's now 1:12. Let's target to start 1:15 sa mga introductory videos. That will also allow us to wait for the others. I'll share my screen.
Wait a minute, Lance. Can you can you open your video so I can take a screenshot of our early birds? Jess Naldo, Congressman Sarge, Manay Cora, Kuya Tony Molina, join us.
Open your videos.
Uy, si Jess, oh, ayos. Okay. So I can take an initial.
Si Sarge.
Congressman Sarge, nasa siya.
Sarge, bukas mo video mo para pantay lang kita ka, boss.
Oo, baka yaon sa mga manok si Sarge.
Nasa CR daw eh. Anyway, 1, 2, 3.
Ano naaraman na may mga manok ako?
Ayun.
Asko baga, alam ko yan.
Video ka.
Video mo.
Profile pic, video.
Sarge, pahiling ka. Alam ko mahina ang bandwidth ni Sarge so get the picture.
Di ba, wala namang parak pare. 1, 2, 3. Si Manay Cora.
TG, tingnan mo si Anton, malapit kina Boy o yan, oh. Tingnan mo, may mga lights siya sa background. You know, the northern lights.
Yeah, pero ngayon
Ito, Anton.
nawala na ulit.
Nawala si Anton. Oh, tingnan mo, may mga green and blue lights siya sa background.
Jess, put on your light again. Okay.
Nasa office kasi ako ngayon.
Oo nga.
Video ulit.
Okay, 1, 2, Jess, come on. Waiting for you. 1, 2, 3. Ayan si Judy. Yay! Okay. Let's take some more later.
Let's, okay, it's now 1:14. So we'll target to start around 1:15. And welcome to this workshop, webinar. It's entitled Organizing for the P4B, which stands for Project BICOLANOS for Bicol, Bamboo, and Beyond. So if you look at this title, malawak yung scope niya, but we will be focusing more on the bamboo. Okay, so this is also an orientation to those who haven't heard about the Project 4B. And so for their benefit, we want to orient them. And then later on in the part 2 of the workshop, we would engage everyone in continuing the planning that was started already during the Earth Day. And that was on April 22. There have been some inputs on that during that workshop on the Project 4B. And we hope to continue that planning with the addition of more members, more insights, more skills, more lenses to look into this Project 4B, so that at the end of the day, we'll have a workable plan enriched by all the experiences that we have. Okay, are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to highlight the objectives of this workshop basically is to provide orientation and to raise understanding of the general membership of UP Ibalon Alumni Association involvement in the project for me. And we also want to identify and prioritize the low-hanging fruits that we can achieve, hopefully, for this year, 2022. Okay, so very simple. At the end of the workshop, we will have a sort of a working plan that we will now, the technical working group, the P4B technical working group will build on, refine it, and hopefully implement it in the months to come. So our program basically will cover the following. So we have 2 parts. Part 1 is just a backgrounder on the P4B, so we can onboard all those who are not yet aware of the project 4B. And then part 2 will be organizing and planning for the next steps. Okay, so for the part 1, a little introduction, I hope to provide, I'm going to show some video clips that will provide at least a global context, at the same time also a local context, all about bamboo. And that's before I call on TG for welcome remarks and continue to understanding why we have this project BICOLANOS for Bicol Bamboo and beyond. And then update you on what has taken so far as this P4B is concerned. And I have the slides from Dennis, who is the team lead of the P4B of UP Ibalon. And we'll flash them so that we are all updated and be up to date on what has so far been transpired on this project so far, which we initiated in 2021. Okay. So without further ado, I'd like to start off with appreciating the context of the bamboo. So let me show a video, 2 videos initially, and then we will go for our opening prayer, which I hope will, EJ, you can assign someone to handle that. Let me first stop this, and I will share the video and where we're coming up in the global context.
Messages
Thank you for
about climate
intervening.
change
I need that.
and the related droughts, hurricanes and floods, not only in tropical areas, but also in Europe and North America. Houston, we have another problem. This is caused by growing global population and related growing consumption of raw materials and fossil fuels, leading to ever-increasing emissions of greenhouse gases. One of the main contributors to the greenhouse gas effect is the building industry. Yet we all know we need to live in a house, right? This is the problem. You see it here. What do you see? You see concrete, you see steel, you see aluminium, glass, plastics. All non-renewable materials. At some point, these will be depleted. There will be no more. We also increasingly keep deforesting our tropical rainforests. If we continue like this, in 500 years, all tropical rainforests will be gone. So you might say, okay, I won't live up to 500 years. But your generation will see the end of ore to produce metals, the end of oil-based plastics. That's not a happy introduction, is it? Thankfully, as human beings, we have the power to imagine, power of imagination. So join me, close your eyes, think about this one building material, which is rapidly renewable, which captures huge amounts of CO2 during growth, which has a tensile strength stronger than steel, which is harder than hardwood. Sounds nice, right? It is here. It's just overlooked. It's grass. It's giant grass. Giant bamboo. Giant bamboo grows across the globe in tropical to subtropical regions. One of the big benefits of giant bamboo is its enormous growing speed. I remember when I did my master's thesis to become a building engineer in Costa Rica in a social housing project working with bamboo. I came for the first time at a giant bamboo plantation. I saw shoots coming up here and here. I came back one day later. The same shoots were up here. Bamboo can grow up to 1 meter a day. it will take 2 to 3 months for it to grow up to 25 to 30 meters right through the roof, and these kind of diameters. Then it will take about 4 years until it's ready for harvesting to be used as a durable building material. By harvesting at 4-year-old age, the other shoots will have room to grow even quicker. This means every year you can harvest 25% of the 4-year-old stems, right? You can do the math. So this means that by default you have no deforestation because you have an annual harvest with bamboo. And those 4 years are really impressive if you compare it with other building materials, renewable building materials, such as softwoods. A pine tree will take up to 30 years before it's ready for harvesting. A hardwood tree, such as oak, might take up to 80 years before it's ready for harvesting. Not even mentioning those non-renewable materials we so often still use. You cannot harvest them, you can merely deplete them. So I think I got your attention now. Bamboo, that sounds good, but why isn't it then mass adopted yet? Let's do another of those mental exercises. Close your eyes. Think of the first bamboo product that comes to mind. Yeah, you got it? I've done a lot of consumer research during my PhD. And there's a good chance that one of the images that have been coming up could be this. A tacky tiki bar. Come on, guys. Or cheap colonial furniture. Handicraft basketry. Maybe you went back to your warm childhood memories and thought of your first fishing rods. But probably you have been thinking of this animal. You've been thinking of bamboo as panda food. And don't worry about the panda. They eat a totally different bamboo species than we use for our building materials. But you see, there's a kind of image problem here, right? And it gets worse. In the country where bamboo grows, tropical regions, bamboo is so abundantly available and it's so inexpensive, therefore, that mostly poor people live there. So it's associated with poverty. And actually, these kind of houses are a perfect place in, especially if they're clad with mud and mortar, to resist earthquakes. Still, it is known as the poor man's timber. What a waste, what a pity! Because the potential of bamboo lies merely in the limitations of the designer, architect or builder working with it. Because tell me, does this look like poor man's timber to you? These $1 million bamboo mansions in the Green Village in Bali, designed by Ibuku, making magnificent use of the lightness, strength and flexibility of this material. I bet you wouldn't mind living here, right? But I hear the next little voice in your head saying, sure, right, it works in Bali, but not here in these kind of temperate regions. We want to keep the wind and rain out. It doesn't work. No way. You are so wrong. We have a new solution. You wonder what's in here, right? This, ladies and gentlemen, is the future of bamboo. Industrially processed, engineered bamboo building materials. I hear your next question. How do you get from this round, hollow bamboo stem to these kind of solid building materials? It's actually really easy. Think about making French fries. You push your potato through a star-formed knife. And what we do with the bamboo strips, we take out of the outer and their inner skin, and then we have a bamboo strip. The bamboo strip is the building block to produce all kinds of high-end building materials. Beams, panels, boards, in all kinds of styles, and super strong. Now, I told you that bamboo grows incredibly quick, so it absorbs huge amounts of CO2. For my PhD, I calculated the carbon footprint for these kind of bamboo building materials. Including transport and processing and production, these kind of materials have a negative carbon footprint of almost minus half a ton of CO2 per ton of building material produced. A lot better than sustainably sourced hardwoods. Of course, not even comparing with the super high CO2 emitting materials we so often use. Concrete, metals, plastics. And it looks good too. What do you think about these kinds of two-colored bamboo flooring in a bank office in the Netherlands? Or these walls and ceilings in this office in Israel? 200,000 square meters of curved ceiling panel in Madrid International Airport. Beautiful, stable, posh outdoor decking in Switzerland. A bridge roof and deck in Israel. Huge surfaces of bamboo cladding in this facade in Norway. And this is the next development. Structural use of laminated and engineered bamboo. We'll start small. Pergolas, carports. But in the future, when there will be more building codes for bamboo, we'll see huge constructions made of engineered bamboo. So this building material is fit for purpose, isn't it? And then there are many other applications where we can utilize bamboo as well. What about, for example, furniture? This beautiful Dutch design chair makes perfect use of the flexibility of bamboo. But don't get me wrong, bamboo is actually quite stiff. You can only bend it further without breaking than wood. You can make all kinds of musical instruments out of it. Very cool guitars. You can make sports equipment out of it. Skateboards, surfboards, wakeboards. All making maximum use of the combined flexibility and strength of this material. We have a bamboo bike. And when you fall off, we have a bamboo helmet to protect you. And actually, it can be cool as well. Now bamboo has become cool. Look at my bamboo iPhone. Or a bamboo cover to protect your newest MacBook. The automotive industry is adopting bamboo. Instead of the chestnut or walnut interior, you now have to choose to have a sustainable bamboo interior in the latest Lexus, including a full solid bamboo steering wheel. We can do more. We can extract the bamboo fiber, combine it with a bio-based resin, and even 3D print these kind of objects, like a vase, fully biodegradable. We can also take out the bamboo fiber, make paper out of it, or cardboards for sustainable packaging. We can go further. We can take out this bamboo fiber and produce a silky soft yarn out of it to produce antibacterial, odorless textile. For example, to produce t-shirts, bamboo, socks, it's bamboo. Yes, bamboo underwear. I'll keep it private, but it's there. So you see, one size fits all. This one rapidly renewable resource can meet all these various applications and needs. Talking about deforestation again. Did I tell you yet that bamboo is perfectly suitable for reforesting degraded land, even on eroded slopes? This is China, 10 years ago, a certain region. The Chinese government have decided to actively reforest with bamboo. This is 10 years later. Now, if I tell you that 1 hectare of bamboo planted captures thousands tons of CO2 in the soil, in the roots, in the stems, and the durable products made out of it. And as a bonus, you get each year again, in a sustainable way, without deforestation, 20 cubic meters of building material. This is 1 cubic meter. 20 times as much. The problem of tropical deforestation. is a big one. Now let's look at the natural growing area of giant bamboo. We see an interesting overlap here, a nice opportunity. The World Resource Institute has identified those degraded lands that are suitable for reforestation. Here it is. It's a purple map. Let's assume we would do this with bamboo. You see the overlap. The tropical countries in this world have taken a commitment in the Bonn Challenge, like the German city. The commitment is to reforest 350 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. Let's assume we teach them to do it with giant bamboo. They have also overlooked it. But now we know there will be two huge benefits. One, carbon capture. I told you before, 1 hectare of bamboo is 1,000 tons of CO2. So 350 million hectare of bamboo means 350 million kilotons of CO2 absorbed. Wow, that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But it doesn't tell you anything. But if I tell you that the global CO2 emissions of this world, so each year, are 35 million kilotons. That means by meeting the Bonn Challenge with bamboo, we can compensate 10 years long our global CO2 emissions, which buys us time to truly transit to a green energy economy. There is a bonus, because I also told you 1 hectare of bamboo will produce each year again 20 cubic meters of high quality building materials. So imagine if we do 350 million hectares. Each year again we will have 7,000 million cubic meters of high quality building materials. Enough to produce 350 million social houses. Not once, but every year again and again in a sustainable way. Enough to house a full continent like South America. Huge carbon capture, enormous pool of building materials. You see the potential, right? Now, if a few moments ago I would have told you that grass could save the world, you would be laughing at me. But what do you say now? Thank you.
Okay. That's for the global perspective of bamboo. Basically, from that video alone, you see the enormous environmental and economic potential of bamboo, and not to mention, you will see also the social potential of bamboo. Now, let me bring you to another video before we discuss further, because this one will give you a local context. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So from the global context, we focus a bit on the local, and we look at one initiative on bamboo. If you recall, the speaker mentioned about the Bonn Challenge. And here locally, we have also some initiatives coming from various advocates on bamboo. And one of these is the 1 billion bamboo, which is spearheaded by one of the board of directors members of the Philippine Bamboo Society of Advocates. So see, this is Father Ben. He became famous because of the Smoky Mountain that they have that they rehabilitated, and now he's working with another community in the Upper Marikina watershed. So let me share with you another video about this 1 billion bamboo and the implication on our Philippines. Okay, so bear with me. Ready?
For the first time in history, our continued existence in this planet is being put into question. We are being threatened.
The Earth is facing the accelerating detrimental effect of climate change.
Let's talk about climate change.
Glaciers are melting, sea levels are rising, droughts are more frequent.
Continue to love the We need big changes.
How could we just continue like before?
With the way we do things, we need 1.6 Earths to meet our demands. The stress and toll on our living planet is becoming more apparent. We are spectators of its fast decay. Here in our backyard, a portion of the Sierra Madre has continually faced threats to its preservation. Illegal logging, irresponsible mining, quarrying, use of land for agriculture and housing have weakened its stature as the protector and shield of Luzon. Since 2004, major typhoons that have hit the island have sent ravaging waters through the rivers that flow through and away from the Sierra Madre, including the Marikina River right at the heart of Metro Manila. As the Sierra Madre ails, our lives could soon be washed away. And so we act and hope to turn things around, first through a 600-hectare piece of land within the Marikina watershed, part of the Sierra Madre, awarded by the DENR to the mga anak ni Inang Daigdig.
Ambassadors for Peace and Environment ng Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, binigyan sila ng DNR ng 600 hectares kasama ito. So dito, ang kanilang bamboo seedling nursery.
We will build our dream of 1 billion bamboos planted by 2030 from here. This effort coexists with the government's push to plant and make use of bamboo under Executive Order Number 879, which created the Philippine Bamboo Industry Development Council. With pockets of bamboo plantations in the Sierra Madre, including those to be supervised by the Dumagats, and as far down south in Mindanao, we will be reducing carbon emissions in the atmosphere. On an average, 1 hectare of bamboo stands absorbs about 17 tons of carbon per year. A recent study from the Central Mindanao University in Musuan, Bukidnon, headed by Dr. Rico Marin, showed that erosion rate in a stand of giant bamboo was indicated at 22.26 tons per hectare per year, and could therefore be a crucial contributor to solving landslides and water runoffs. With the right entrepreneurial partnerships, there is huge livelihood and business potential in harvested bamboo. From building material, weaving materials, to designer furniture, food, personal essentials, and even as components for renewable energy. In his Laudato Si on care of our common home, Pope Francis calls the climate crisis as one of the gravest moral challenges facing humanity.
It was the call of the Holy Father that every human being, aside from our conversion from our sinfulness, is a conversion to take care of Mother Earth.
Through the 1 Billion Bamboo Project, we heed the Pope's call and uphold our being stewards of the earth. 1 billion bamboos in 8 years may seem daunting and ambitious, but there is no better reward than our Mother Earth revived and restored back to its grandeur.
Okay, so now you have at least a bit of the local context as well on why there are a lot of initiatives on bamboo. And our project 4B basically is also an addition to all the initiatives all around the country. Later on in the part 2 of our program, you'll be updated with the best practices in the journey. Join EG in a prayer.
Yes, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. And thank you for making this webinar possible through the team leaders' generosity and able leadership. We are now fortunate to start off the activation of a project that we have long wanted to move forward, and with God's able and willing blessings for all of us, we are sure that we would be able to muster enough cooperation and courage, and of course activism from among our members, as well as from the partners that we have herein, represented by Pons and Dr. Rosetta, I think. And with that, we pray, Our Father who art in heaven, holy be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Floor is still with you, TG.
Yes, the screen sharing, so I can go on a what you call this, a gallery view.
All right.
As promised, no, we have more than 20 participants already with after your kind introduction and very insightful videos. We acknowledge the presence of a lot of past presidents, no? Pons, we have presidents from our esteemed school organization. Just like I mentioned a while ago, si Boy Oliva is here. Cora, also past president. I think Sherry Versola is here also. Hi. Some of whom are BODs, members of the board of directors. We have another past president. I think GGTV is also past president, I think, no? If I'm not mistaken.
No, hindi ako.
O ano lang, most
member.
beautiful member, no? And from the younger set, we also have, did I mention already, Sarge Colombo was president for about 10 years, sa student organization. The younger set, the presidents are here also, Judy Agua and Giro Rasiles, who was, I think, the recent president who brought us the most number of students. And may I acknowledge BODs, the board of directors, who are, Marion is here, was also present. Hi, past president of the organization. Who is with you? Carl? Is that Carl? Ang gwapo mo naman dyan, Carl.
Yes.
Naka-ano ka ata dyan, Naka-tawag.
Ayan siya, nakatayo kasi.
Oo nga. Yeah. Let me mention the presence of some board members here. Of course, the past president of, immediate past president of UP Ibalon Alumni Association. We have Engineer Albert Molina, also a past president of our student organization. And then we have Azel, our secretary. Then board secretary, we have Manay Sherry Versola, our association treasurer. We have Judy, also a board of director member. Then, of course, our most shy member of the group, Panyera Cherry Belmonte Lim, who is there, who is having a seductive pose, okay? A lot of BOD members will still be joining us in a short while. May I also acknowledge the Pons, those who have been closely with you and Dennis. Dennis, by the way, is the board of director in charge for advocacy. He will be joining us in a short while. He is on flight, I think, from an engagement out of town, but he will zoom in a short while and will co-host together with IMDM President Pons. Dennis and Pons have almost duet, no? Hindi ko masabing single-handedly steered this laudable project. For 2 years, we have been doing this. As I said in our previous announcements, UPIAA SOCMED, upon the invitation of IMDM President Pons and of course the Philippine Bamboo Society of Advocates. I don't know if director or professor from PBSAI will be joining us. But again, thank you. Let me extend thanks to them also. Project members who have been here very actively. We have passed, just like I said a while ago, the most or the loveliest mayor, former mayor of Albay. We have Agnes, my prima, Agnes Di Coco, yay! Then we have Arnel Astillero. We have Board of Director for External or VP for External, Mac Pavia, and for a while also VP for Internal, Liza Sorbito. Just bear with me, but really I cannot help but mention everyone because without their active involvement and support, this very ambitious but laudable project won't come to fruition. Let me mention, Pons, that last April 22, for the information of everyone, Pons and Dennis had a very creative MOA signing event together with a launching, humble launching of this project in Naga, co-hosted by, again, Pedro. Let me mention Pedro Camilo, who hosted this from Nabua, and of course, Mac Pavia. And together, we were able to give it a really warm push and welcome to get this thing going. The tripartite agreement between PB, ang hirap po sa mga acronym natin, ano?
Okay.
Yeah, okay lang. That's why I jot it down, sorry. Philippine Bamboo Association and of course your IMDM organization was already done last April 22. And as an initial salvo, this is our activation activity. And surely, as I told the project committee, we will have more of our collaboration, our efforts together with the two other organizations. Okay? So with that, I just like to make an advertisement also that while you very well know that your association, your UP Ibalon Alumni Association has been actively pursuing this, hopefully also together with the student organization. We have the president of the student group represented by Hannah. Hannah, where are you? There you are. And we hope to have more projects. This is one development project that has been the dream, I think, of many past alumni groups or roster of members. And I am sure that this will be the start of something big. Sabi nga ni Pons, saka yung barkada niya, I didn't know that you invited your good friend from TEX, no? To make that very, sabi mo nga, hindi natin sineseryoso ang bamboo before, di ba? Tinatawanan lang natin, no? How can grass, something like grass be maseseryoso mo, something taken seriously. But as we get to know more about this, yung sinasabi lang ni Pons, sinasabi lang ni Dennis, I think we are getting to know more about the project. Hindi lang siya developmental, no? It's also a very useful climate mitigation agent or development. It is profitable, it is viable, it will seek to probably help contribute to the countryside development that we all aspire for. It is also, ika nga, sexy, no? Design-wise, no? Kasing ganda ng mga Ibalonian ladies natin like Gigi, Agnes, Manay Sherry, Azel, etc. And the prospects are really, really much. So on that vein, and again, as UPIAA President, I would like to welcome everyone and thank everyone who have been continually supporting this particular project and other projects that UPIAA under our term has been undertaking. Please brace up for a little bit more. We have a healthcare project that is being formulated also together with some members of the alumni. Healthcare meaning for the benefit of our aging population, ika nga sa alumni, and of course, students who may not afford the quality healthcare. Let me just digress a bit. And of course, some other projects that would augur well for emergencies, just like we did in 2020, our Ibangon Yan assistance program for our fellow Bicolanos. And lastly, of course, other infrastructure projects that we will continue to support. Okay? So, Butch is there. Welcome, Butch. So on that note, I will probably have opportunity to mention some of the other projects. But since Pons came up with a long introduction video, I also wanted to match it with a longer welcome remarks. So kidding aside, welcome everyone, and mabalo sa gabos, especially to the project team leaders, Pons and Dennis, and the project team members. And now all of us here who would want to lend an active helping hand to the project. Thank you very much. 2 thumbs up.
Thank you very much, TG. That's TG. That's really indeed a very, 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 very warm welcome to all of us. We all feel at home in Ibalon. So thank you very much, TG, because without your support, we will not take off in this project. So all this, a little over a year that we have sounded off the idea on the project for B, TG has always been very supportive, and he has assigned a technical working group team to spearhead the planning and the formulation of jointly with us the memorandum of agreement that I will also discuss later on as a background on the project. So thank you very much, and we're honored to for this workshop to be having with us past presidents and very active members from the alumni and also from the student organization. Yeah, so we have a program that I hopefully will complete before 5. Hard stop yung 5, huh? So finished or unfinished, we will, because I'm sure by that time we have already substantial inputs that we can implement in the immediate term. So let me move on and share again the presentation pack, so to facilitate our program. Okay, thank you again, TG. And moving on, let me just again bring you to this slide that somehow summarizes what's contained in the 2 videos, the global one and the local one. And
Pons,
yes?
This is Gigi. I don't know if it's just my screen, but is there really a gray bar sa taas ng slide mo?
Yes, that's the,
okay.
no. Can I minimize that? How do I minimize that?
I don't know lang.
That's the controller. So
okay.
I can transfer it.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
So it's probably better there. Okay. So let me walk you through. This is the picture of the bamboo industry in a nutshell, and what we are doing as far as the priorities are concerned. So let me walk you through. You see this arrow starting from the left side and going up and going bigger. It represents our journey on this project, the bamboo journey. No? And we're looking at nationwide nurseries established in many regions in the country. We do need the nurseries because we need the planting stocks. without the planting stocks, we cannot populate the farms and available lands to have the plantation, the bamboo plantations. So for the 1 billion bamboo that Father Ben Bertrand mentioned, it's estimated that we need around 600,000 hectares of land to grow, to achieve the 1 billion poles of bamboo that we are envisioning to achieve by 2030. Now, Mindanao, for example, has committed several, at least 1 million hectares of land for the National Greening Program, and that will include also bamboo. So there are available lands in the country to accommodate and make it feasible for the 1 billion bamboo. Now, our part in Bicol, we will know more about it as we inventorize available private lands that we have, even in Ibalon in our network, and more importantly, the available idle lands that the government will allow us to manage in the future. But that will come into fruition when we engage these critical stakeholders and identify which are the lands available for planting bamboo. Now, to make it also viable and productive economically, we need to have shared service facilities. As you can see in the video, the first video, the wonderful products that can replace a lot of building materials are basically engineered bamboo. And to transform the ordinary bamboo poles or bamboo columns into this engineered bamboo, you need these facilities. And these are the processing facilities located all over the country. And even when you go for the engineered wood, you need to establish the bamboo manufacturing facilities at regional hubs. So probably in each region, we will have a manufacturing facility. Later in the part 2, in the best practices that I will be showing, you will be seeing one of the, at least the very first large-scale manufacturing facility we have in the country, and that's located in Pangasinan. And that's one of the best practices shared among the different regions in the country. In the far future, we still don't have this. We are envisioning renewable energy plants coming from the bamboo biomass or bamboo pellets, especially now that we are experiencing very, very steep price on oil. A renewable energy plant would be most welcome. And that can come from renewable bamboo columns that we can harvest from the bamboo plants. Now, these 3 stars on the rightmost upper corner of the slide basically encapsulates the environmental and the social and economic goals and the benefits that we can derive from bamboo. And if you're familiar with these sustainable development goals, a lot of the sustainable development goals can be integrated in our journey, in our bamboo journey. For example, poverty reduction, climate change mitigation. These are examples of the sustainable development goals that we can also integrate as we travel this bamboo journey. Now, with all of these activities, we will be, as we grow the bamboo industry, we will be seeing more enterprises being developed, small MSMEs. In fact, we have programs assisting OFWs to establish their own entrepreneurial activities, and some of them can be in bamboo. And we will have multiple products. There's continuous research in terms of bamboo products. The speaker in the Erasmus, the TED talk showed about the bamboo cloth, socks, bamboo flooring, paneling, etc. So there will be conversion of the low-value product to a high-value product. We will have laminated wood, furniture, and even use in the construction industry. And there will be a lot of livelihood generated for thousands of people. In the experience of China and Vietnam, whole communities are uplifted from poverty because of they're working on together as a community using bamboo and transforming the low-end bamboo to high-end bamboo. So this can be replicated in the country. And this can engage a lot of women, farmers, craftsmen, manufacturing employees, professionals, traders, businessmen, university professors, etc., because it covers a lot. Now, if you look at the bamboo chain, yeah, it basically composed of propagation, plantation, processing, and marketing. And you can see a lot of the activities that can be involved in each of these steps in the bamboo chain. So we have nursery, seedlings propagation, pisciculture, plantation, small farms, riverbank protection, watershed rehabilitation. And in the processing, we have shared service facilities, transport, manufacturing plant, food production, paper plant, textile, and even renewable energy plant. It will also involve marketing. We need to market the products. If we don't market the products, then there will be no income. So a lot of the initiatives in the best practices are trade fairs showcasing a lot of the bamboo products. Social media marketing platforms are already thriving in the, let's say, social media. Facebook, buying and selling of bamboo products are taking place. There are also business-to-business transactions on bamboo. And the construction industry, there's a ongoing establishment of construction standards. And we have some representations in the ISO standards establishment on bamboo. Of course, culture and arts. It was mentioned that we can make a lot of musical instruments using bamboo. Remember the bamboo organ? That's one of the examples of musical instruments coming from bamboo. And what was shown in the video, some guitars and flutes, we can create from bamboo. Not only that, we have other aspects that will be involved as we grow the bamboo industry. There will be a lot of skills training, information, education, communication campaigns, financing requirements, research and development, establishing a data management system to make our governance more efficient. There's a lot of transport going on. And of course, there should be good governance, a lot of project management, given a lot of projects that can be initiated out of bamboo. For instance, if you want to build a renewable energy plant, you need the skill sets of project management in order to make that happen. So this is the bamboo value chain. And this is where UP Ibalon Alumni, in partnership with International Movement of Development Managers, Sustainable Development Projects, and the Philippine Bamboo Society of Advocates, are joining hands in order to contribute. And more importantly, we want to do this for Bicol initiative. And we want to answer why this project will be. Yeah? So this project, BICOLANOS for Bicol, Bamboo, and beyond. So why this project for Bicol? Now, as Ibalonians, as fellow Bicolanos, it's heartbreaking to note that Bicol region in the past decades have deteriorated actually, and is now the second poorest region in the country, next only to the BARM. And the BARM, if you're familiar, that's a newly established region. I was shocked when I read this in the Philippine statistics that our region is now the poorest. And if you really analyze it, and even in the best practices that will be shared later on, you will have an insight on why this is happening. For one, a lot of the good and bright people of Bicol have established themselves in the affluent cities in Manila, in the country. So there's sort of a brain drain. But as scholars of UP, and then as Ibalonians, we have the duty and the drive to give back to and uplift the Bicol region. That is a challenge to all of us. And we have a commitment as Ibalonians to serve and promote the Bicol region. So that is one of the reasons why we are opting for this project for Bicol. Bicol sustainable development is our aspiration. That is our goal. So that is bigger than just the bamboo. But in order to have the capacity to really compute effectively to the Bicol sustainable development, we also have, as an organization, build our capacity. And we thought of this bamboo journey as one project which we will be able to develop our muscles for capacity building and in attempting a bigger contribution to the sustainable development of Bicol. So let's apply and build our capability by focusing on the bamboo industry development muna, and for all its environmental, social, and economic benefits. And all of these environmental, social, and economic are basically the three legs of sustainable development. And from our experience on this bamboo journey, we will have a lot of insights on all these three legs of sustainable development, which we will be able to apply in the other aspects of sustainable development of people. So that's where we escalate. That is where the beyond comes from. So it's BICOLANOS, we BICOLANOS for Bicol Bamboo initially, and the beyond is the sustainable development that we aspire for Bicol region. Okay. Now, TG has mentioned a lot of what has taken place so far, but let me just enumerate to you our bamboo journey so far. And we started in 2021, initial phase, but these are some of the achievements. We finally set out to consult with the Department of Agriculture in August. The idea on the P4B was initiated in the first quarter. It was only in August that we were able to, start an initial consultation with the Department of Agriculture, and gave to them and share with them the project concept paper. And they liked it. In fact, they even shared our proposal for a smart bamboo data management system with their head office. So the regional office of DA shared our proposal for a smart bamboo data management system, which is for the national scene. You know? It's not only limited for Bicol, but we need to start somewhere. And this was shared with the Department of Agriculture. We don't know, as of now, the status of this one, and we have waited for the change in administration so that we will follow it up once the new administration is established. So in the next months to come, we will now be checking on what's the response on this proposed smart bamboo data management system. We have created a project team, and basically we have the technical working group, and that's headed by Dennis, Dr. Dennis De La Torre. And we have signed, as mentioned by TG, we have creatively signed the MOA, which embodies all this concept on the project 4B so far on April 22. And we had a small launching ceremony there, planting activity in Nabwa Farm for the nursery that will be established in Nabwa. At the same time, we also have planting activity in Naga, near the place of Pitoy or Pedro. And we had a workshop as well to gather the inputs from those participating in the Earth Day celebration. And we answered some of these questions. What is there for me? What can I contribute? And what can I do? And this we will ask ourselves as well to yourselves. Those who were not present in those initial workshops, we will ask the same questions, and you join us and add your expertise, your insights, especially with the background that we've given you on the project and the different lenses that we have, especially with our different sets of skills, expertise, and areas of development or professionalism, from engineers to social scientists to media practitioners. All of these lenses we will use to enrich whatever we need input on the project for the journey so far. Okay, and this is just showing to you the consultation visit with the Department of Agriculture, and then we had we initially did a presentation of the program to them, and then the regional director Red Tornillas wrote the wrote the head office and shared with them our consultation discussion. And hopefully we'll be able to follow this up with the new officials of Department of Agriculture in this next administration. And by the way, the president himself is heading the Department of Education. It's a good sign of prioritizing the Department of Agriculture. So hopefully he will also be able to help us on this. All of us, we need to network with the DA among other key stakeholders. This is a picture of some pictures of the activity in Nabwa. We had our blessing led by Father Pablo. That's my brother, number 12 in the family. And some who attended the planting ceremony. And this is just one of, I think, more than a dozen that we planted on April 22. As you can see here in the picture, that's, this I recognize, Gigi, Father Pablo, and other who participated. And Mark Pavia also joined us. And later on, Joel Cadiz also joined us. And this is a group picture. And in Naga, from Nabwa, we proceeded to Naga for the workshop. We did first a planting activity, and that's Pitoy, Mark. We did that at the backyard of the restaurant of the Pitoy. We did a planting activity. And then we had a workshop, which was also virtually participated by other Ibalonians in the country, because not everyone could go to Naga. Much as they wanted to, not everyone could join, but many participated productively in the virtual workshop, hybrid workshop, virtual and face-to-face. And here, group picture. You see Toto Dulce, that's Edna, Joel. This is Kathy, Natalie, one of my colleagues in IMDM, who is a forester and who is also joining the team in terms of providing support in terms of reforestation programs. Okay, so that happened in Naga on April 22. And in the workshop, let me just summarize the initial inputs on the workshop. And this was the Earth Day workshop inputs, answering the questions on what I can do, what is there for me, and what can I contribute. And so these are some of the ideas expressed by those who participated. I can contribute in, let's say, research and development on the labong, which is a food. Labong is a food derived from bamboo. Scaling up of the Project 4B into other regions, whatever good experiences that we'll have here. If we establish, for example, a good data management system, we can always scale that up to the other regions. Partnership with private sector, skills on reforestation. Our engineers are looking into the structural use of bamboo. And there's also the interest on riverbank stabilization. In Bicol region, a lot of the hectareage of planted bamboo are basically at the river banks. There are no large-scale plantations yet. Around 2,000 hectares of land was planted by DANR at the river banks for short river banks protection. And there are skill sets on the development of work and financial plan. And some are volunteering. A couple volunteered on organizing exposure trips, for example, in Bali, or just locally in the northern part of the country, in Pangasinan, just to see the manufacturing facility there. And also addressing environmental issues, project management. And of course, there are bamboo enthusiasts within the group. And we are also looking for fruitful activities as a retiree. I'm one of them. And many of us are retirees. And this is a productive use of our time and talents and skills for the betterment of Bicol. And to a certain extent, this Project 4B will fulfill a lot of our aspirations to contribute to the Bicol development. And of course, there are opportunities for business as well. If we put up a nursery, you spend, let's say, 10 pesos for one propagule, but once that propagule is sold as a planting stock, you can have a price of 50 to 100 to 250, depending on the volume of sales. And there's a certain feasibility and volume, and we will quantify this more intently as we go through the project. So there's opportunities for business, from nursery to plantations to processing facilities to manufacturing plants to renewable energy plants. Some have also expressed that my family in Bicol, although I'm here in Manila, my family in Bicol, I want to contribute and uplift our family in Bicol. So that's a personal aspiration as well. Other things that I can contribute in, bring in the academe hat. Many of us are tied up with academe and have had some interfaces. We may be teaching in the universities, so we need to engage academe. And we can synergize on climate change financing, create markets for products, especially those who have experience with the DOST, like Raul, for example, volunteered that he can focus on engaging DOST for research and development on bamboo. Some have looked into the possibility of looking for funds. Others have volunteered land for planting. And to date, there might be around 20 hectares that we can, amongst Ibalonians, we can already around 20 hectares where we can plant bamboo for starters. But of course, we need hundreds or even thousands of hectares. And that we will engage the DANR, what available idle lands that we have. We can mobilize network, our own individual network, the network of Ibalon, network of other organizations we are involved in for the P4B. So if we engage our network, for example, other alumni associations, we can increase the land inventory that we can commit to plant bamboo. For example, Rotary clubs. In Manila, there are a couple of Rotary clubs that have volunteered there to join the campaign for 1 billion bamboo. So they're offered lands as well. We will tap DOST, DTI. We will link to the National Greening Program. And we do partnership with academe, like suggested by Totoy, Southeast Asia State College for Technology to champion bamboo development. And we can look into the Bicol University or even the universities in Naga. The more academe that we can involve, the better. The more students we can also engage in, let's say, planting activities. So if you look at keywords that we have to hear often, we have academic collaboration, climate change financing, green growth development, Bicol development, national greening program, MSMEs, not mentioned here are the OFWs that we will have programs to establish their own enterprises, social enterprises. Ethicality of sustainability of supply. If you want really engineered wood, you need a lot of sustainability of supply so that your plant can run 24/7 and to make it feasible. Otherwise, if you starve the plant, then it will not take off. Of course, not only bamboo. We are looking at abaca, coconut, and other resources and assets that we have that we can integrate in the whole P4B journey. Okay? So that's the output from in a nutshell, that's the output from the workshop in Naga and virtually participation of the others. And we will build on this later on. Now, just to familiarize yourself with the MOA, the content of the MOA, which basically embodies all what we aspire for in this Project 4B. And this basically has been drawn by the three organizations, three partner organizations, the Philippine Bamboo Society of Advocates, IMDM, Sustainable Development Projects, and UP Ibalon. And our purpose is to spearhead the development of bamboo industry in Bicol and provide a more effective platform of collaboration for government, private, and civil sectors that will work as a team for Bicol. Now, if you reflect for a moment what we are trying to do here, we're basically trying to implement a different approach in development in Bicol. and the use of civic organizations, not just for being responsive to or reacting to calamities or call for donations, but more on a structured approach on a development path. So these are more on the preventive side and preparation, and really looking at not being reactive, but more of being a proactive motive force in mobilizing the civil sector and partnership with government and the private sector, so that we can achieve more effectively Bicol's overall sustainable development. So look at it in that context. It is not doing the usual thing. This is really different. And let's see if we will be successful in doing this in the bamboo journey. If we are, we can expand. These are the key drivers that have been identified. There are a lot of drivers that have been identified. And well, of course, these are the aspirations of the three organizations with the same shared goals, yeah? On sustainable development and uplifting the Bicol region, at least from poverty. And hopefully in a decade from now, or by 2030, we will not be the Colelat region in the country. We also want to stimulate recovery from the COVID pandemic. In the initial part of the discussion, this was the prevailing sentiment. Now we have recently, again, the disruption in the world economy due to the Ukraine war. All the more that we need to have these additional recovery mechanisms to help and those affected by the COVID and the Ukrainian war. There is a resurgent push to grow bamboo industry, and you've seen that in the video because of the threat of climate change and among others. We have been experiencing floods in Marikina, and that's why priority area is the Marikina watershed. And in the Bicol region, we do experience floods as well and typhoons. And with bamboo, we can be more resilient. Hopefully, with the projected $98 billion market in the global bamboo industry by 2025, we hope to get a bigger slice of that pie. At the moment, that is 90% China. So if you look at our malls, SM and other malls, you will see a lot of bamboo products, but most of them are coming from China. So hopefully, with our initiatives, a nationwide push, we will slowly grow our slice of the market and surpass. Right now, the Philippines is number 4, if I'm not mistaken. It's China, followed by Indonesia, then Vietnam, then the Philippines. We want to reap the environmental benefits in terms of carbon sequestration potential, soil erosion, flood mitigation, watershed rehabilitation. And these were very commonly cited as one of the benefits, environmental benefits of planting bamboo. Economic benefits are already named: multitude of products, food, furniture, high value products, even cloth and fuel. And develop or grow MSMEs, manufacturing industries, etc., and uplift communities from poverty. So these also are drivers for this project 4B. And we have outlined some strategies in the MOA. These are named as strategies that we will be implementing, but not all at the same time. So let me just walk you through them, but later on we will be prioritizing our strategies and focus on the low-hanging fruits. We envision that there will be a lot of dynamic partnerships like what we are having now. If we are working together as one, then it will be more effective, other than, let's say, working in divergent priorities, then we will be weaker. But if we focus and work together as one, then we will be more effective. We envision a collaboration. This is a must-do, collaboration with those entities in the government who are all involved in bamboo. For example, the Philippine Bamboo Development Industry Council, the DTI, Department of Trade Industry, Department of Agriculture, Department of Environment, the DILGs, DOST, TESDA, etc. We have to obtain support in resources, fund, land, material from partners, investors, and development agencies in order to grow the industry. We can start with our initial personal holdings Like for example, 1 hectare for the nursery, or a small 5-hectare plantation for bamboos. We can start with those, and then later on grow it. Collaborate with leading actors, such as the state, universities, training providers, bamboo plantation operators. Like later on, you will see the big brother, small brother partnership. As of now, we can consider ourselves a small brother in the various initiatives in the bamboo journey of different regions. The other regions are much ahead, and we will see that later on. We will conduct a lot of community engagements, IEC campaigns, and we will need to quantify and do our metrics on bamboo. And this we need to develop. Otherwise, if we do not quantify and do the metrics for bamboo, what we cannot measure, we cannot do. So what gets measured gets done. That is about project management. So in a program like this, we will in the future monitor our progress on a quarterly, semi-annual, and annual basis, depending on the priorities that we have set. Like the key result areas that we want to achieve something. We identify other potential bamboo farms from private and government lands, including land for large-scale plantation, if any available in Bicol. And we need to position very well the shared service facilities. As of now, unlike other regions, sad to say, based on the DTI report, Region 5, there's only one shared service facility on bamboo in the Bicol region, and that is located in Bula, Camarines Sur. I haven't seen it, but that's near Nabwa, fortunately. So we can capitalize on that. But we hope to have more shared service facilities and processing facilities in the region. We will identify opportunity to establish a manufacturing plant for engineered bamboo and other high-value products within 3 years. Because after 3 years, once we have planted the bamboo, if you remember, in that giant bamboo will take at least 4 years before we can harvest. And by the time you harvest, you should have your processing facility available so that we can convert the bamboo into a high-value product. And consider on a long term, when sufficient industry growth is achieved, the establishment of a renewable energy plant. So this is a far future. But right now in Pangasinan, the plant there is now in talks with Korea and Japan, wherein they can export their fuel pellets from bamboo for their renewable energy plant. My question there is, why not establish a renewable energy plant in the Philippines? So that is where we want to steer this. Why not Bicol region? Because we suffer from the scourge of a very high electricity rates. Perhaps we can establish a renewable energy plant here in the near future within the period from now until 2030, then we can contribute substantially in terms of the reduction in power source, in electricity. We should learn from best practices for continuous improvement and replicate success. These are our strategies. Okay, and initial objectives, as short gains, hopefully, we want to mobilize and organize a network of individuals, that's us, and our immediate network, our alumni associations, our organizations, memberships in Rotary clubs, in the universities, etc. And we also want to start with the baseline data. It could still be just an simple Excel spreadsheet, but in the future, we will convert this into a bamboo application that will really effectively and more efficiently gather and utilize effective use of the data. So we will have a bamboo data management system. But for starters, we can design an Excel spreadsheet that will capture the initial data that we want. For example, farms, actors, enterprises, and the land areas that we have planted bamboo. We can start small, and we need this in the future. And to promote, support, and establish bamboo livelihood, MSMEs, and enterprise startups on bamboo nursery plantation. So this is one of our initial objectives as well. But we can identify later on where and in what form do we want to achieve this. We will expand, of course, we will include bamboo industry growth as part of the agriculture, fishing, and forestry. In our engagement with the Department of Agriculture, this is a part of the Bicol Regional Development Plan. We will have to integrate our bamboo journey with the Bicol Region Development Plan. And take this initiative as a way to assist in the economic recovery for Bicol, given the adverse impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, plus now the Ukraine war impact. Okay, so those are the initial objectives. Now, all these purposes, objectives, strategies, duties, and roles, and more are now embodied in our tripartite MOA signed on April 22, and that's signed by the President of UP Ibalon, TG, and then IMDM-SDPI, that's myself, and then Dr. Tesoro, the President of PBSAI. Now, I also represent here the hat of the PBSAI because I'm the Vice President for internal of PBSAA. Okay, so all are present in this workshop. The three organizations are well represented. But now is the time to take action within the framework of MOA. All talk, no action will result to nothing. So that is really by fear. If we are all talk, wala mangyayari sa atin. So we need to really mobilize people into action. And from Dennis, just to highlight the role of UP Ibalon, the way we see it, this is a sort of an advocacy beyond 60. So the mga retirees, if you want a productive use of your time rather than just contributing your money and a little time to all the solicitations by our members and other organizations, this is a much more structured use of your valuable time. And really, this will be the internal rewards is more uplifting than any of the monetary rewards that you may have. And, as retirees, we really want to give back. And hopefully, what money that we have and assets that we have, we want to make use of it productively. And there's always itch to, I think I can manage it more effectively if I do it. So now this is a platform by which we can do this. More effectively manage our resources that we give to the community. So we want to teach the community how to fish rather than just dole outs. So that is the essence of the Project 4B. Local action through one's accumulated expertise and experience and personal family resources. A lot of us are experts, whether in the medical field, in the media, in engineering, oil and gas industry, power generation, advertising, etc., etc. And we want to make use of that. As you can see in the value chain, you can always find a sort of activity that you can make yourself useful for in this Project 4B. Network connections. This is very important. A lot of us have built a lot of networks in various organizations in the country and globally. We will be able to tap them in this project. We will just need to present the projects. When we have good traction of the project, let's say after this year, we will have hopefully a traction of the project. We can have a proof of concept that it's working. We can now approach private sector groups for bigger investments and other partnerships with international agencies in this journey. Yeah, and the conversions with existing personal and professional engagements. You can always tie this up. Even corporations, that we always have a corporate social responsibility initiative, and you can volunteer this Project 4B for Bicol. That's probably one that you can engage other partners. So all of this in terms of growing the bamboo enterprise and industry development in Bicol. This is the role of UP Ibalon. A lot of it is advocacy at the initial stage, but depending on what you are willing to contribute later on and the funds in terms of partnerships and investors that we can attract, we will have bigger activities to perform. Right now, it's just campaign, campaign, campaign. Information, education campaign, and communication campaign. Let more people know about bamboo and know about the environmental, social, and economic benefits of bamboo so that many will be attracted to join, and that will benefit us all. Okay, so I will stop here for a minute, for 10 minutes, and let me just listen to your reactions. And this will end part 1, and we will proceed after a short break later on. By 3 o'clock, we can start with planning. And so, any reactions from the group? I'm all ears. Can you see the gallery?
Maestro Pons, let me be the first to react. Ano, ha? Akong pinakamatanda aside from Sarge, who has a very poor connection. Let me just applaud you for a very, very, very good presentation. And grabe, I think we should call you now Bamboo King.
Oo nga.
We should call you Bamboo King now, because you have made a very thorough. I think kung sa AIM presentation yan, ano ka na, uno ka na, Pons, no? I think all the bases are covered, and with the help of the project team members, like sila Mayor Bem, no? How can you fail, no? With
Pasado na ba, pasado?
Oo, pasado, no? All aspects, and I was taking down notes, although I can screenshot. In fact, your 4B workshop during our Earth Day, no, was really compact already. I think, in fairness to the project team who were also present, of course, Dennis, who will join us a while ago. Grabe. I don't know if we can add pa to that dissertation. I forgot to mention si Anton. Thank you, Anton. BOD Anton is also present. Board of Director Anton. He's helping with the technicals, no? So thank you also, Anton. So let me just make that first comment. I have other comments later on, Pons, but Maestro Pons, I just cannot let this pass without giving you a thumbs up, no? Double thumbs up for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we will share this sayang, no? A lot of our members, sabi nga ni past President Albert, this really will have to take a lot of warm bodies to implement and to activate even during the first few years. By the way, the MOA that we are talking about here, as Pons correctly mentioned, is a long-term MOA. But for purposes of practicality and out of reality, with associations, we have segmented that into chewable chunks, like 3 years, 3 years, 3 years, so that succeeding boards of our organizations will be able to add or reduce or whatever, rationalize whatever we have done for the initial month. Siyempre, we cannot do probably everything, but this is a time not to be thinking of constraints. This is a time also to be dreaming, ika nga. We may not fulfill all our dreams, no? We supported a very decent candidate for president last elections from Bicolandia. Sana, I think, mabibigyan ito ng shot in the arm if our candidate won, but that's water under the bridge for now. Let's continue to work on things that we can do as warm bodies and as committed Ibalonians and Bicolanos for that matter. So yun lang, Pons. And hopefully later on, Dennis, andun na yung ang ganda ng roadmap ninyo. It's an excellent project management roadmap. And I just don't see any problems later on if we will get more warm bodies and more resources. But let me just warn everyone nga na we can start with pilot projects. We don't have to, go for the big jugular. You can't go for the jugular, so to speak, right away. And probably by selecting the right offices that can join hands with us, I don't know if you will agree with me, no? Kung si Pons lang ang naging congressman sa isang Bicol, province dito, or Bicol governor, what I mean, sa isang Bicol province, siguro we will have enough resources to keep this going. But kidding aside, what I'm talking about is about resource mobilization, because that is a reality. So from the purview of an association steward or member, we can only ask for additional help and support from the members. But I think other than that, even among our 3 organizations that are jointly doing these funds, no, it's good that we saw yung need to, sabi mo keywords, to connect with the proper political or government agencies. My first worry actually there is funds. I will jot down my additional comments, no, and then I'll just send it to the team leaders kasi mga pragmatic concerns ito, no. Reality check on the ground is number 1, yung mga trail or deal breakers when we start coordinating or joining hands with key agencies. Okay, let's not expound on that yet now. That might be step 2. But I think that's a real concern at this point kasi pag nilay down natin yung roadmap, we really need to join hands with these other organizations. Mamaya-maya mo, you and I know na iba ang objective ng mga political, di ba, offices eh. Di ba, masyadong ano yan eh, masyadong internal affairs, ika nga ang concern yan. Second, yung mga government naman, may pagkamahaba ang ano nila, ang timetable nila and bureaucracy nila is different. So I think that's a concern that I want to raise up to even up to this initial stages para makita natin yung first 1 or 2 or 3 years making it fly in a manner na from pilot projects magma-mature siya slowly into really good regional undertakings. Yun lang. I will expound in due course. Thank you. But often, palakpakan natin. Let's join hands in acknowledging our team leaders, Pons and Dennis, and the project team.
I hope Dennis is well, no? Kasi sabi niya, masyadong masakit yung tiyan niya, baka appendicitis. Then, sabi ko sa kanya, prioritize his health. Hindi niya pwedeng maliitin yan. So, but Dennis has always been contributing. So whatever I'm saying here, take it na around 60% work ni Dennis lahat. So Dennis's words are as well here, the ideas that he has and the work that he has done a lot are here as well. But let me just quickly react to yung minention ni TG. In our workshop later on, we will draw on 3 case studies or 3 or 4 case studies wherein those concerns on engaging government, etc., and other agencies will come to light. And let's see, we can probably borrow from the practices of other regions. And we will see. But of course, we acknowledge that our politicians here are of a different breed. And that's what we need to address. We cannot just leave the development of Bicol to our politicians. And that's a fact. That's why we have been now all these decades we have deteriorated into the poorest region. That is really a pity. Why? Because there's a political capture. We need to override that political capture. And we, as brilliant UP students and scholars, we should be able to think through and find a solution that will not be adversarial to these politicians, but make them more, make them cooperate and work with us. So we should find a solution on that one. Yeah, and we will be pragmatic, as TG has mentioned. But more of the insights I want to draw from you later on when I share the best practices that come from Region 1, Region 2, Cagayan, and Davao. And then let's apply it in Bicol. Okay? Because there are others who are ahead in the journey. So let's not reinvent the wheel. But we can initiate also our innovations. So we will take it from there. Other reactions?
Bem and Cherry are raising their hands. So.
Sige, Bem.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I think there is a bounty of ideas. There is no luck. In fact, it's overwhelmingly bountiful Pons and Dr. Dennis. Kaming dalawa po ni Dennis, nagkaroon din ng Zoom meeting around April, and it lasted about 4 hours. So umikot-ikot din kasabay ang financing. But let me just input po, just to cut the story short. I'm a banker, so more or less listening is part of my make-up character. But at the end of the day, I needed to get down to actionable plans because as a banker, at the end of the day, you measure performance versus plans. Yun pa aking orientation. So having said that, may sinabi si Maestro Pons kanina about best practices. And kung may mga nauna na sa atin, we can probably lay them together and see what we can learn from them. Kasi ang punto ko lang, we can get lost with a flurry of ideas and all the strategies and be lost with what to do first. So kung may mga nauna na sa atin na nag-best practice na, siguro pwede natin ilatag yung mga action plans nila and then pag-aralan natin. Kasi isa sa mga punto ni Maestro Pons mamaya is ano ba yung low-lying fruits natin. So kung makikita po natin yung mga best practices na yon at makakagawa tayo ng sarili nating action plan on the short and then on the long term, as short as first 6 months to 1 year to 3 years to 5 years, I think we will have a better and more, we can pace up ourselves kasi may mga leaders tayong who can be in front of us, and all of us with our own resources and expertise can already be doing parallel tasks. Let me just give you an example. Like, sa tingin ko naman sa lahat na action plan na makikita natin sa best practices, makikita natin doon yung pag-identify ng mga lupa na tataniman ng bamboo. Kasi marami tayong products, wala tayong tanim, wala tayong aanihin. But as pinag-usapan namin ni Dennis, ang bamboo farm production is not for the small farmers. It's really for the initially gentleman farmers kasi wala siyang short-term cash crop. So, yung small farmer, as I work with them, 3 hectares and below, kailangan nila ng cash crop para kumain. So, sino yung makakapagbigay ng lupa na pwedeng taniman ng 3 taon, 4 na taon, walang harvest, ay yung may mga gentleman farmers. So, from among ourselves, I think one specific project that we should put into our short-term action plan is land banking. So hindi lang siya, it's not just a matter of raising hands. It's really a program, a project within the program which is going to be identified as bamboo farm production land banking. Now, yung land banking, dalawa din yon. Nursery land banking ba yan o bamboo production land banking na rin? Kasi kung magdidepend tayo sa planting materials na darating lang sa atin, sa experience ko kasi meron po kaming 17 hectares ngayon na part of that is being planted with bamboo, matagal maghanap ng planting materials. So kung gusto natin mas mabilis, baka gusto natin na yung initial land banking natin ay puro nursery muna. At paano natin gagawin yung pag-nursery? I think if we go to BU, baka mag-aaral pa si BU, siguro mas maganda, kunin na natin yung best practices ng ibang region kung paano nila ginawa yon. So, first concept ko is land banking, but we have to identify whether it is land banking for nursery establishment or land banking for bamboo production already. Pangalawa is yung sinabi kanina, isang strategy doon, IEC, totally believe in that. But sino ang i-IEC natin? Kung ang initial audience natin ay farmers who are not really small, hindi mahirap mag-IEC doon. Pero kung gusto natin mas malaganap ito, hindi po pwedeng tayo lang ang mag-IEC. We need to mainstream this in local governments. I've been working with the Department of Agriculture since I was a mayor, and until now, I'm a banker. I still work with them. Isa pong nakita kong branch of manner of mainstreaming bamboo will be to rally that this bamboo be really confirmed, pronounced as a high value crop, and I think it is already. And yung HVCC, meron pong agricultural technologies ang bawat local government. So like now I'm working with Burias Island and starting with cocoa financing. So ini-engage ko po yung HVCC 80 ng Claveria at ng San Pascual. So if you can also
HVCC?
high value crop commodity, high value crop and commodities. So HVCC. Opo. Bawat munisipyo meron agricultural technologies for HVCC kasi nauso na yung kamote, sweet potato, meron tiger grass. Isuksok na natin itong bamboo. And that will be our rallying point. Yung academe, magandang konsepto, Bukav and then Sibiso. But because bamboo is it's a sunrise thing in Bicol, baka mag-aaral pa rin sila. Pero maganda nang isama para mag-aral na sila. And of course, again, it's financing. Siyempre, pag nagbigay ka ng lupa, may opportunity loss ka doon sa dati mong ginagawa. Or ang opportunity loss mo is the waiting time. So you need financing. You cannot choose your own. If you're going to use your own savings, it's a very costly and a wasteful way of using your savings. I'm talking like a banker. Kasi wala kang immediate ROI. And you measure your return of investment, dapat, especially savings mo yan, is at least on a yearly basis. So kung hindi mo naman makukuha kasi meron kang gestation na mga 4 na taon, 5 taon, mas magandang hinihiram ito sa isang low-cost financing. And sino ang magandang financier sa mga plantation type na mga produkto? Abay si gobyerno. Because government can do zero interest. Just like what I distribute now as a conduit, yung bangko po namin, we practically finance new crops at zero interest. Kahit walang kinikita yung bangko, tinitignan ko yung long-term effect. In fact, sa Bula, nag-finance na kami ng initial pa lang, 1 million sa bamboo farmers. And we hope to increase that when we get funds. And we're engaging bamboo producers also in that manner. So yung financing po natin, balikan po natin yung financing, baka pwede nating with our position and with our collective voice, maka-influence tayo sa Department of Agriculture na magkaroon ng isang bamboo financing fund. Or baka kung meron na yan, meron ng template, ang importante lang dyan is malagyan ng pondo. Kasi maraming batas na nagpapalagay ng pondo na hindi naman nilalagyan ng pondo. So kung ito'y malagyan ng pondo at ilalagay ito sa mga government banks, just like what is happening now with CFID, Coconut Financing, Coconut Farmers Investment Development Fund has just been signed by Digong before he left. And this is the billion funds from the Coco Levy. A portion of that is into credit at very low interest, may zero interest pa kami ngayon, nag-finance ng Burias Island for 10 million at zero interest. So if we can rally that there's a bamboo financing fund to be created because of the laws that are there, it's going to make our establishment of either the nursery or of the bamboo production farms to be at very manageable risk. And I'm sure government, pag nakita nilang may mass tayo, may volume, I think we will be more attractive because of the impact it's going to create. And lastly, doon sa balikan ko ulit yung action plan na makokopya natin sa mga best practices para makagawa tayo ng action plan sa kadami-dami ng magagandang mga ideya na nakalap na, is really to put a visual on this. Which what I mean is, ang Bicolano, palaging ang icon, sili. Diba? because of Bicol Express, ginamit ang sili. Magandang visual na isasabay natin is yung pag-create ng additional icon sa taga Bicol, and which is now the bamboo. Baka tayo pa ang maging national icon for Filipino resilience, because bamboo has always been that symbol.
Mayor, isabay natin sa Mayon Volcano yung bamboo, di ba?
Let me just quickly react to that, because I see Gigi. One of the just to give you a brief, the P4B name is just temporary. That we need branding for this project, and we need the skill sets of the likes of Gigi to lead us towards a really good position of branding on this project, and also whatever we identify as a need for Bicol in terms of.
So last ko lang yun, yung visual, kasi alam natin na when we do advocacies, we have to be very visual on that. So just to wrap it up, Pons, ang sinasuggest ko lang, andyan na yung lahat ng magagandang ideya. We will need to convert this into actionable plans that can be done in the next 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years.
That's the idea.
Opo, kasi pero wag na natin masyadong pahabain. Mangopya na lang muna tayo.
That's why I'm sharing to you later on the best practices para makita natin
kasi parang kami rin yung mga bangko na kasama ko dito. Ang daming pinapagawa ang BSP, and one of those that is being demanded of us just this June 30 na deadline namin is sustainable finance, which means that naka-anchor din siya sa ang financing institutions hindi pwedeng magpapahiram lang ng sa mga activities o produkto na mga short term, kundi dapat mag-accrue din ng impact sa development. And I think that is also, bamboo is going to be a very attractive product in terms of financing for financial institutions.
Okay.
So yun lang po ang aking 10 cents worth na i-contribute ko.
Yeah, thank you for that. A lot of those insights, and we will draw from all of us here participating more of those insights, and that has been started by TG and Bem. Let me just call Cherry because she was raising her hand for the last reaction before we move on to the part 2 of our program, which will of course flesh out the details on how to be pragmatic, the low-hanging fruits, and so that we can finish from those best practices that I will share later on. We can draw more insights and make it more clear for us on what's really possible. Okay?
So, may iba pa palang second part. Gusto ko lang maalaman kaya po, where do we come in? How will you know that all of the 17 participants now are interested? And what can they contribute? And totoo lang, what will they earn from this? So siguro nasa part 2 yan. Mahalat na lang ako kan part 2. Madangog lang ako kan part 2.
Wala.
Nadangog nindo ako? On?
Nawala ka kanina, pero ulitin mo.
Nadadangog si Cherry.
Okay.
Ang sabi lang ni Cherry, sorry, yung aso ko maingay. Sabi ni Cherry, madangog na lang siya dyan. Kasi garo sa planning, ang hapot niya, what's in there for us. Pero again, so
just a reaction that each of us will have to determine what's in it for you, what's in it for us, and how can we pitch in. And we will have more of this. Each individual will be unique. Some of them can share, but I would recognize that each individual have his or her own view on how he or she can participate and be involved in this project. Okay? So let me pause there on the reactions on the part 1. As I've mentioned, we are going to have a part 2, which is the planning stage. And let me just share the screen again. Till we finish by 5, we will look into organizing and planning for our next steps. What's really pragmatic as raised by TG. And we should not be inundated by the bountiful ideas, as mentioned by Agnes. And let's come up with immediate short-term plans for 2022 at the very least. And we will take it from there. There's a technical working group that will further flesh out the details of whatever inputs we will have in this workshop. But what's important is that we're able to capture your insights, given that we have a very wide scope of experience from contribution of each and every one of us. And let's look at your insights based on what we will see as best practices. So what I plan to do is first give you case studies of best practices and find out where Bicol is, so that we know the gap that we need to bridge or give us a direction on what is doable as far as Bicol region is concerned. So I attended a webinar last May 27, organized by the Ilusan 5K Foundation. So it's Usapan Kawayan. And this is in celebration of the anniversary of the Philippine Bamboo Industry Development Council. And there are established regional councils all over the country. And we will see how it is as far as Bicol region is concerned. And I will just get excerpts from the presentation and around 20 minutes excerpt. And from there, it will enrich on how we can look at the challenges posed by Cherry and TG in the meantime, and among other things. So let's learn from this. Let's look at these case studies and put on our hats that we look at the lenses on political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal aspects of the whole project, because we will all take this into consideration. One moment.
Sige lang po. So while you're doing the technical thing for that, we just also welcome some participants who are non-Ibalonians, no, who wanted to join in and hear the, the matters about bamboo development, whether it will be for the Bicol region or other regions. We are welcoming them as relatives of our fellow Ibalonians. We understand that some of them actually have serious plans, or probably short-term plans, or immediate plans, should I say, in planting bamboos, no, instead of other crops in their farmlands. So again, we welcome them. I think we have about 2 or 3 of them who have been in the Zoom room. So okay lang yan, pinag-usapan naman namin nila Pons, they are welcome, and probably may mga insight sila, they're free to do so also. Pons, if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you.
You're ready? Okay, go.
I will show run the first excerpt. Yeah, let me play this. This is the Ilocos region. And check if there's volume.
Yeah, there's volume.
Okay, good. Let's watch this now. This is short. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's region 1. We will now proceed immediately to this next region, region 2. And also, just remember that I'm sharing what they have shared as best practices in various regions in the country. And I've just selected 4 of them to showcase here, which I consider the best practices among the best practices. And then the last I will share is the Bicol one, okay, out of the 17 regions in the country. So let's listen to this one.
In the year 2021, we have restructured the Cagayan Valley Bamboo Industry Development Council from private-led to government-led, mirroring the Philippine Bamboo Industry Development Council with extended membership for the purpose of enhancing and strengthening the organization to give better guidance and service to our stakeholders. Shared by the Department of Trade and Industry Region 2, Cagayan Valley Bamboo Industry Development Council is composed of 23 government agencies, academe, and private sector representatives, including 11 regional line agencies, 1 financing institution, 4 state universities and colleges, 2 private organizations, and 4 provincial bamboo councils. The council serves as the region's catalyst in implementing sustainable bamboo initiatives that would foster a healthy environment and economic development. It provides the institutional framework to implement the Cagayan Valley Bamboo Industry Development Program, which is in essence a convergence program geared towards developing the entire value chain of bamboo, from propagation, plantation, processing to marketing, in order to create employment and livelihood opportunities through the establishment of enterprises in each segment of the value chain. To institutionalize support for the implementation of the region's bamboo development program, we have secured the issuances of the local bamboo ordinances among the municipalities and cities in Region 2. I am pleased to report that 40 cities and municipalities in the provinces of Cagayan, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, and Quirino have so far enacted their bamboo ordinance, and more are soon to follow. As a result, the LGUs are now implementing their respective bamboo development projects and have reported over 20,000 bamboos planted and 9 bamboo nurseries established. We have also initiated the localization of the Philippine Bamboo Roadmap on July 18, 2021. The localized roadmap now serves as our guide in tracking our new goals and objectives set for 2022 and beyond. The region's celebration of the World Bamboo Day and Philippine Bamboo Month last September 2021 was participated in by LGUs, government agencies, NGOs, private groups, and individuals. A significant highlight of the event was the simultaneous bamboo planting activity, with around 6,400 bamboos planted in different parts of the region. In the area of capacity building, we have contracted the services of the Philippine Bamboo Foundation, Inc. to conduct intensive hands-on trainings on bamboo propagation, plantation establishment, and maintenance. Also, the conduct of coaching and mentoring and hand-holding of our pilot LGUs in Cagayan and Isabela for a span of 6 months while they start to implement their bamboo development projects. On behalf of the Cagayan Valley Bamboo Industry Development Council, DTI Region 2 greets the Philippine Bamboo Industry Development Council a happy 12th anniversary. Bambuhay!
Now I will shift to Northern Mindanao and
welcome to Northern Mindanao, home to the giant bamboo. We are the producers of high-value and high-quality bamboo products in the domestic and international markets. With the availability of players and the various functions in the value chain, prospects for the bamboo industry in Region 10 look promising. In January 10, 2012, the Regional Bamboo Industry Development Council, RBIDC, so Northern Mindanao Bamboo, was organized to oversee the implementation of the Executive Order 879. To date, we have sustained the RBIDC and the 3 provincial bamboo councils in the region, which provide guidance and crafting strategies on projects and activities to propel the bamboo industry in the region. Using the market-driven approach, the Northern Mindanao bamboo industry transformed from traditional small farm holder production into a sustainable market-focused enterprise. This was achieved through capability-building activities such as technology missions to bamboo facilities in Laguna and in CR, skills training across various functions and the value chain, from bamboo nursery and farm management to processing, as well as techno-transfer and forging strategies partnership with the academy and other organizations, such as the local chapter of the United Architects of the Philippines. To be competitive, we have to lower production costs and enhance productivity. DTI, through the Shared Service Facility Program, provided equipment and machineries to bridge the production gap. From 2013 to present, 28 bamboo facilities amounting to over 19.2 million pesos were established all over the region. With the push for innovation, a digital fabrication laboratory or Fab Lab was established at the Mindanao State University, MSU IIT in Iligan City. The Fab Lab helps researchers and businesses design and create physical prototypes of products across various industries, including the bamboo industry. Through incorporating available technologies and product development programs, the design upgrade by UTOP and the Design Center of the Philippines, Northern Mindanao is now a proud producer of engineered bamboo, plyboards, furniture, bamboo handicrafts, decorative walls, and other sustainable value-adding bamboo products with prospects for potentials of the cluster. The industry also faced challenges, especially during the onset of the pandemic. Among those are the establishment of a vast and stable resource base for mass production, financing windows and policies concerning bamboo, and market threats due to closure of businesses and institutions. For the last 10 years, the collaboration of private sector and government contributed to the increased sales, increased income, created more jobs in the communities. We must aggressively maximize on the strength of our region, continue the convergence initiatives already in place, and pursue the prospects for growth and opportunities in the bamboo industry to overcome these challenges. That is the Northern Mindanao bamboo industry. Like the bamboo, we build foundations for a strong, sustainable, and reliant cluster. Salamat and magandang umaga sa lahat.
And let me share as well the Davao experience.
The Davao Region Bamboo Industry Development Council was organized only last year of June 2021, which paved the way for the industry players' active participation in the various initiatives benefiting the bamboo industry stakeholders. The council aspires to become a globally competitive Davao Region bamboo industry with a sustainable resource base for inclusive development and growth as envisioned in the Davao Region Strategic Plan and supportive of the Philippine Bamboo Industry Development Roadmap. I would like to present some of the initiatives we are doing here which might be considered best practices that are actually embedded in our programs and projects. The first is the development of community-based enterprises through our DTI Negosyo Serbisyo sa Barangay Livelihood Seeding Program. The people's organizations, the indigenous peoples, producing bamboo products, and the community beneficiaries of DNR's NGP program are supported through our LSP NSB as well as PPG with a package of livelihood starter kit as well as entrepreneurial and skills training for them to produce more products with higher value and efficiency. This is also to ensure the sustainability and upscaling of such communities enterprises through our NSB LSP program. Second, the participatory development of product prototypes development like the Bamboo Smart House of Davao del Norte. The original design of the Bamboo Smart House was presented by architect Mitilia, which was further improved with the participation of the academe and community that will manufacture the products themselves in a series of workshop sessions. The third is the strategic partnership between government, private sector, academe, and other sectors, which drive the energy as well as the synergy for the advancement of the bamboo industry. Of some collaboration initiatives started, I would like to mention here the holding of the Davao Region Bamboo Expo last year, which was held in a popular mall in Tagum. Usually there is a minimum fee for the use of the space and other utilities, but since the mall management was convinced that bamboo is worth of advocating and investing in, the mounting of the Bamboo Expo at Gaisano Mall of Tagum was for free, and in fact management offered extension of the event for almost a month towards Christmas season. Moving forward, the Davao Region Bamboo Council continues to advance the bamboo industry development as strategy not only for environmental and economic upliftment of the people but also social and cultural promotion. The Bamboo Council, with partners through our chairperson, private sector leader Mrs. Norma Monfort of the Philippine Bats for Peace Foundation, will be mounting a Tour de Samal, a bike tour in the island garden city of Samal, advocating it in its theme Bats and Bamboos Alliance to combat poverty and climate change. This is to raise awareness of the people to its many uses and purpose and the preservation of bats, which helps maintain our productive ecology. Thank you, Kilusang 5K Foundation, for this opportunity given during the Usapang Kawayan, and congratulations, Philippine Bamboo Industry Development Council, on your 12th foundation anniversary. Mabuhay ang Kawayan.
And lastly, I'd like to let you see the contribution of Region 5.
With the bamboo industry.
Nakikita na po ba yung presentation?
Okay, we can see it right now. Ayan. Okay, so just a brief background of the bamboo industry in Bicol. Yes po. Okay, so it's a priority industry of Region 5. Actually, all provinces in the region are involved in the bamboo industry development. But 4 major provinces, yung contributor in the bamboo industry development are Albay, Cam Norte, Cam Sur, and Sorsogon. The 2 island provinces, which are Catanduanes and Masbate, just recently joined the wagon para at least they can, little by little, they can also develop their own respective bamboo industry. Okay, so ito po yung quick profile of the 4 major contributors for the development of the bamboo industry: Albay, Cam Norte, Cam Sur, and Sorsogon. So mostly of the products are dining sets, sala sets, and also yung mga bahay kubos and some novelty items. In Cam Sur, we already have the engineered bamboo being produced in the municipality of Bula, particularly by the organization na ang tawag sa kanila ay Bula Masari. Masari means sturdy or strong. Okay, next slide please. These are some of the bamboo products. Go on, Bishan. Ito po yung mga output namin out of the many product developments that we have. Okay, again, our intervention. So we have different account officers in the different provinces, as you see on the screen. Go on, this yan. So ito po yung mga programs and projects that we extend in order to fuel the growth and development of the bamboo industry. Of course, yung ating shared service facility, our different training programs, product development so that we will have more competitive bamboo products in the market, both local and international. Of course, we have the financing. Specifically, ang partner natin dito yung SB Corporation and some microfinancing institutions. And of course, market promotion. Although in the last 2 years, because of the pandemic, it has evolved from merely physical activities into, kumbaga, presence also, online presence. Specifically, meron tayo yung presence sa social media, and we recently developed yung OKB platform, or OKB.ph is a website in order that our MSMEs, not only bamboo, will have the chance to promote and sell their products online, even in the midst of the pandemic. And then, of course, the digitalization, because, of course, that's already the trend. So we have to, kumbaga, our MSMEs in the bamboo industry should really be, kumbaga, coping with this development. Makasabay sila. Okay, next po. Yan.
Yes po.
Next slide. Ito po yung mga accomplishments namin from year 2021 and up to the first quarter of 2022. So yung MSME assisted, we've already assisted 270, and then this first quarter, 72. So yung assistance, encompassing siya sa mga training programs, consultancy, sa financing, and even yung, I think it was already mentioned in some reports a while ago, yung mga LSP, Livelihood Seeding Program, Negosyo Serbisyo sa Barangay, as well as yung DTI PPG, which stands for Pangkabuhayan sa Pagbangon at Ginhawa, wherein we do conduct trainings as well as provide our MSMEs with livelihood/negosyo kits. Okay, ito po naman yung mga amount of loans facilitated, of course, in partnership with SB Corporation and other financing institutions. Yung 1.2 last year, 597, and as of first quarter naman, 115 MSMEs. Ito yung total investment last year, 7.5 billion, and this year, for sales generated last year, because of the combined promotion and selling online and physical, we were able to generate 9 million pesos for our MSMEs. And as of first quarter, 1.8 billion po. Yung jobs generated out of the industry, 450 last year, and then first quarter this year, umabot na po ng 116. Okay, next slide, please. These are some of the activities we had for the first quarter. A total of 6 training activities were conducted for the first quarter. And then yung market promotion, in Bicol region, we have two platforms selling online OMG. Both of them used to be physical fairs. Yung isa, yung Orgulyo Can Bicol, which is held in Manila. And yung isa naman, OMG, it's being conducted in time for the Peña Francia festivity. It's a regional festivity here in Region 5, in Naga City in particular. So, dahil sa pandemic, kinonvert natin siya into website as I mentioned. Pero yung OMG, aside from website,
Yan.
Yes po, na ano ata si, yes po, na ano ata yung internet ni Sir J. For our market promotion, we have po the subscription to e-marketing platform. Just like yung nabanggit niya kanina, meron na po siyang website, yung OKB Online.
Okay na?
Yes sir.
Ayan, okay.
Yes po, Sir
Yes, sir.
Jay.
Please continue.
Hello, Sir Jay. Nakamute
Go
ka po,
on.
Sir Jay.
Go on, Yen.
And the another activity po is the Kawayan Showcase. Sinasabay po namin ito doon sa Bishop Gainsa Trade Fair, September, and in time for the celebration of the World Bamboo Day. So we have a planned activity po for the World Bamboo Day, which is the Kawayan Showcase na ginagawa po namin sa province of Camarines Sur. Yes, Sir Jay? I-continue ko na po ba?
Yeah, in addition, yung Bishop Gainsa kasi it's a regional fair here in Naga City in time for Peña Francia festivity, which is a regional fiesta, kumbaga. Fiesta ni Nuestra Señora de Peña Francia, the patron saint of Bicolania. And then, next slide, Yen. Okay, so yan na po. So we go to the best practices. We prepared a short video presentation. So ito po yung just for the information of everyone. We just last year we facilitated the reorganization of the Regional Bamboo Development Council. And ito na po yung some of the practices or probably accomplishments of the council out kumbaga for a period of 5 months. Sige po. Yan, paki-play yung video. A while ago, I was inspired by yung mga smart house, and because of that, we plan also to parang make a product development for the Bamboo Bahay Kubo. Kasi we didn't do that before. Lagi nakakonsentrate sa mga sala sets, furniture pieces, mga novelty items. But I think we also have to initiate the product development for the kubos and bamboo houses. So thank you for that inspiration. So Yen, go on. Just additional info, even before the creation of the council, we already have several collaborations with national agencies, particularly yung DNR and DA for the propagation of bamboo. As well as the different provinces, particularly po yung 4 na provinces I mentioned a while ago, yung Albay, Camsur, Camnorte, and Sorsogon. Each of them have already organized even before pa yung mga bamboo organizations. So there were already initiatives even before in line with trainings sa pag-propagate ng mga bamboo plantation, as well as sa manufacturing, processing, and marketing. So hindi ko na yung sinama kasi before pa yan ng mga initiatives. So thank you I would like to thank yung mga stakeholders, particularly yung mga national agencies who were involved in growing and developing the bamboo industry in the Region 5. So thank you very much.
We're proceeding to drawing insights, from the case studies. We want to identify ano ba talaga ang lessons learned there, and then what insights do we have In addition to those actions already mentioned by TG kanina at saka ni Agnes, I'm sure we'll be able to develop. I will not recommend a breakout groups anymore. We will just go through as a one big group to discuss all these insights. From the insights, we will be identifying key result areas that we can identify, top 3 to 5 strategic activities that we can do later on. And then we will formalize, we will draw up a plan to this. And if we have time to organize a bit, assign a focal point or teams to handle specific areas, we will do that. But let's first draw the insights from this sharing of best practices. So who would like to start? Okay, Gigi.
Pons, yeah.
Yes.
Hello. I have a 5
notes.
o'clock, so I want to make my time with you guys count. No, for the background of the rest of the team, I basically do branding and communications and digital marketing. So that is what I will be sharing. No? So from that lens, these are my initial thoughts on TG, everyone. For me, the way I'm seeing it right now is that there is an opportunity to make bamboo a brand, meaning not just a commodity that is highly substitutable, if that is the term. No, where am I coming from? No, this product does not exist in a limbo. There are actually many options and substitutes right now in the market, and people have access to all of those. And in branding, in marketing, in communications in general, may tinatawag tayong marketing hierarchy of needs, meaning bago sila bumili, kinakailangan maging aware muna sila. Kasi unless there is awareness, there will be no purchase, no? And purchase doesn't happen right away. What we want to do, of course, the way I see it, this has to be sustainable. This has to make profit, and therefore, one of the smartest ways to make profit in this, especially in this pandemic world, is really to do branding, because branding allows us to stand out, to have clarity, to be compelling, to be distinct, and even be able to command a premium, because we want to make profit out of this, right? So that we can help more. So these are the thoughts. No? Okay. That first, there has to be a very high level of awareness. If we're gonna do this, digital is not just an also and a by the way. It is actually the main medium right now. It is very cost efficient. That's how brands, politicians, and governments are made and broken overnight. Really, we have to maximize. This is 2022. Digital is not a trend. This is the world where we are living in right now, and we will have to make use of this efficiently and effectively. Because after all, perception is far more powerful than reality. Kaya nga may mga nanalo, hindi dapat nanalo, because they were able to create this powerful perception about them na, diba? It's not about reality anymore, guys. Sorry to, this is really the truth, no? So ako, this is where I come in to help create a powerful, compelling perception for bamboo, or Bicol bamboo, or Philippine bamboo, whichever brand you want to call it. Again, what we want is to make bamboo not just their wood, but their material of choice, diba? Kasi it's not just about wood, it's about material, no? But having said that, we also have to identify that bamboo cannot be everything to everyone, kasi a brand has to stand for something. So there has to be a clear brand proposition, a brand positioning. What does the brand stand for? Yung human brain kasi cannot accommodate a lot of information. So pag sinabing, is it Bicol bamboo, Philippine bamboo? What does it mean exactly? What is it exactly? I've worked with many brands, P&G, PLDT, Uniqlo, Mentos, Obishi, and always it is very important to stand out. We have to be clear who we are. No, sometimes we fall in love too much dun sa produkto natin that we forget na ang nagke-create ng brand at ng negosyo, ang bumibili ay hindi tayo, kundi yung end users. And therefore, it is important when we do the planning later on to identify sino ba talaga yung target market. Government ba? General public ba? Media ba? We have to be very clear exactly who we are talking to. Otherwise, yung efforts natin, it will not be efficient, no? Kailangan very targeted tayo. Kailangan natin maging matalino at very sharp dun sa efforts natin, because after all, I think most of us here are probably volunteers, no? With our resources, our energies are limited. So pag ginawa natin to, kailangan laser sharp focus. Yun sana yung request ko. Yon, so sino yung target market exactly? Ano yung point A? Ano yung are they aware of bamboo to begin with? Ano yung quality ng awareness nila? Is it positive? Is it negative? Why and why not? And sino yung substitute right now, no? Kailangan kasi maging ganun because any business, all businesses does not exist in the limbo. We have to be very aware sino ang mga substitutes ngayon, no? Sino yung mga kapalit ng bamboo? Kasi right now, parang offhand, no, without the of data, para siyang poor humans material, no, poor humans wood, no. So medyo may konting baggage siya. However, there is hope because ang population natin, marami na ngayon ang I think the median age is 24.3, 24.7. So this is a millennial and a Gen Z world already. And these are people who are not just about social awareness, but also about social action. So if it's a matter of making bamboo sexy, there is a chance because if you ask these people, anong bamboo product ang aware sila, hindi nila sasagot na kawayan. They will probably say straw, bamboo straw. 'Di ba? Ito ang mindset ng mga bata ngayon ng populasyon ngayon, no. Pero sila ba yung market, no? Because maybe in the future, I don't know kung saan to pupunta. Baka magiging goal natin for every Filipino, meron kang at least one bamboo product. For every home, kinakailangan may bamboo something dun sa bahay mo. So yung mga ganon. So ito yung beyond brand positioning ang iniisip ko na dito, brand vision. Anong klaseng vision meron tayo para sa bamboo? So kung pwedeng mas palakihin natin, mas gawin natin mas inspiring para yung trajectory ng actions natin mas laser sharp, mas inspired, mas targeted. There also yun lang, later on kailangan natin pag-usapan kapag nag-create tayo ng perception, ng awareness, ano ba yung consumer contact points, ano yung media, hindi pwedeng say exhibit lang or Facebook lang. We have to identify pag nagkaroon tayo ng clarity kung sino yung target market, at one point are they most susceptible to thinking about this category para lang efficient, no? Also, medyo madami pa to, but these are all the details. Pero yun lang, I hope that makes sense. I just took notes while you were presenting, Pons. I hope that helps inspire you.
That is a very insightful contribution to this.
Okay, thank you.
We need to be laser focused. Kasi kung mapapansin mo, right now, everything shotgun approach. Bara-bara. But I don't know with the other best practices kasi there are successful products being sold abroad. And they may have gotten their branding correct. So we have to learn from them. And before we proceed with the journey, it's important to have this kind of insight and knowledge so that when we plan, we will plan according to those insights that you have shared. And what we need to do is to plan your work and work your plan. So with your inputs, we will have a very fine plan. TG.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gigi, thank you very much. A very quick reaction lang, no? We're so happy to have you around. This is the first time that you really, joined us in a long Zoom meeting, no? Palagi tayo nasa chat eh. So now we are witness to your branding know-how and prowess, so to speak. You mentioned something about falling in love with the brand. I hope the gentleman here won't fall in love with you also so quickly. Baka mag-seller si Asel.
Baka magkaroon ng brand association yan.
Okay, baka mag-seller si Asel eh. Yan ang pretest bagets namin sa BOD. But kidding aside, I just wanted to cement what Gigi said. Gems, words of wisdom din yan, gems of information as far as marketing and branding is concerned. She did not say anything wrong. In fact, those are very, very correct words from a practitioner. But let me just segue or let me just use that into something also from our perspective as economists. No? Kaming mga economists naman, may strategy and financial bankers, whatever. Kami naman, ang orientation namin, yung strategic orientation, no? So to speak. In other words, where do we come in? A lawyer said a while ago, practical notes na what's in it for us actually what probably she meant was not just our individual roles. So if we were talking about, if Gigi correctly mentioned something about, how to really position the brand, I think Pons also, a basic question from a management or economic strategy standpoint is, what would be our organizational positioning? Okay? In your presentation, latter presentation, you it's also a revelation that we already have what, 4, 5, 6 regional councils on bamboo. I didn't know that we had that many regional councils, and some of them are already 1 or 2 years old. Okay, so and some of them have already done a lot of groundwork and achievements on the ground. Sabi nga, some are modest. I was looking at the figures, hindi naman ganun kalaki, assistance done, etc. But no mean feat, just the same. So what am I driving at? Again, moving from a general perspective, sabi nga ni Agnes din kanina, maraming best practices na pwede natin kunin, but yung tinatawag na corporate or organizational positioning din natin, Pons, no? Kasi right now, hindi tayo may-ari ng brand, ng bamboo brand. We may probably want to sell it, as part of the universe or the Avengers that are championing the bamboo development. But another basic question, Pons, really from an economic standpoint is, with all of this already in place, yung SWOT nga, no? Strength, weaknesses, threats analysis, paano ngayon papasok yung tripartite natin, di ba? May regional council. Do we begin to be just part of that big universe? Or do we come in with a bang? Do we just do small successes? Sabi nga ni Agnes kanina, ni Bem, pwedeng mag-pilot projects tayo, etc. So yun, we put 2 and 2 together and we have a roadmap. Wala namang mali dyan. I just wanted to acknowledge ang ganda ng brand positioning ni Gigi. But again, we do not own the bamboo brand. We come in also and we should position our tripartite in the bamboo development context. Thank you.
From my perspective, if I understand you right, this question is, where do we add value as an organization?
Yes, as a tripartite for that matter. And how do we benefit as a tripartite?
That's the question that we should ask ourselves.
Yes.
Ben.
Can I just all what we are hearing now? I agree with Gigi. It's a very fresh approach. Kasi ang negosyo ngayon eventually it is going to be an enterprise product. It's not just the product itself, it's already the value proposition. So, nung panahon, flyer lang tayo. Ngayon 3D na, 4D, 5G na nga tayo So, I think these young people like sila JJ, they already have the tools. What we are going to supply for the generation, ang tawag sa generation natin is the wisdom. Asel, GG Pons. So, tayo yun, wisdom yun, experience. So, we can put them all together. But you have a very good point, TG, President TG. Ano ba yung lugar natin? Kasi meron ng mga existing. As far as the government is concerned, we're practically inexistent. They don't know aggregations like us. Kasi as far as they are concerned, sila-sila lang ang nag-uusap. So, kung narinig natin kanina yung isang video, best practice, the private sector-led bamboo became government-driven, which is actually their mandate. So, sa atin, hindi naman tayo ang pioneering kasi sabi nga kanina ng taga Bicol, meron na. Pero ito yung mga nakikita ko sa SM lang and it's very, very small and novelty. Kung makita natin yung 3 best practices, wala tayo sa kalingkingan ng bamboo agenda. Wala yon. So, kung meron tayong kokopyahin para mag-resonate sa brand na ipopropose natin as an organization, is paano ba gumawa ng isang compelling agenda for bamboo on a value chain, value proposition approach. So, ano ang role natin ngayon? Hindi pa nila tayo kilala. In fact, si DTI nagsasariling track. Si DENR meron din. Si DA hinihintay tayo. So they're not even talking to each other. So siguro ang position natin will be first to gawin natin yung pinakamagandang bamboo development agenda na meron na tayo. Nakita ko na yung mga handbooks natin. I-compare natin doon sa mga best practices na pinili ninyo. Kasi kung mag-present tayo, magre-request tayo ng government meeting, invitation, magbibigay tayo ng libreng kape, kailangan nakita nila, uy, mas maganda ang bamboo development agenda nila. Sa tingin ko, Pons, yung gagawin mo, walang sinabi ang DTI. Kasi si DTI, puro lang salaset ang gustong gawin. So if we can present a very good, broad, comprehensive development agenda, and we ask for their presence, siguro they will pay attention. And we will need to tell them that, we are here to support you, but we think we saw some gaps versus other regions. So we would like to be a handle to connect you as agencies of government into something that is more for Bicol. So yung brand na ipopropose ni Gigi, it can be already a concept, is actually the rallying point. Ano ba yung gustong maabutan ng bamboo ng Bicol in the next 5 years? And that is very, ngayon sa gobyerno, pag inisip mo na para sa kanila at nakumbinsi sila, sabihin nila, hindi na tayo mag-iisip, yan na lang. That's usually happens in government. So it's win-win for all.
We have to craft up that kind of value proposition where before we engage our key stakeholders in government. And that should be really compelling and powerful, as GGS mentioned. We're getting there. We know what we need to do. At least we have an idea. We haven't really fleshed out a plan to do it. But generally, I agree with that. We need a better way of doing things. So we need to really market the organization and in how we can add value so that there will really be a good positioning of bamboo from the Philippines or from Bicol that will gain the instant reflex from markets available. Diba?
Yes.
Alam ni Gigi yan.
Pons. Very quick lang, very quick. I think yan, Bem, Agnes hit the nail right on the head. And just to put it in perspective also, yung sinasabi namin kanina, I think yun din yung thinking Pons ng board ng DO, yung natin yung UPIAA when we started, thinking about this. To join. Kasi remember, we were invited lang by you. Wala naman kaming kaalam-alam sa bamboo development. Ganon, no? So, yun ang question mark sa amin. Kami nila Asel, nagtatanong, do we have enough manpower, warm bodies to do this? What kind of bamboo development are we talking about? So, lumabas nga doon, Bem. Just for your appreciation. Kaya tuwan-tuwa ako, lumalabas yung tinatawag na, you call it a value proposition, some call it a roadmap, some call it an agenda. Kasi yun yung advantage natin as so-called scholars ng bayan. We are capable, sabi nga ni Bem, mas maganda pa siguro yung plano mo, Pons and Dennis, no? Yung ginagawa, yung dinedevelop natin. So perhaps our product is the roadmap itself. Of course, we will have our own share in the pilot projects, in the profit utilization agenda, etc., benefits to our own ganyan. But we can come in as a roadmap advocate, di ba? Pinagduktong-duktong natin. Mas mayabang tayo ng konti. That is what can be shaping up, no? Then later on, gamitin natin yung branding technology ng mga young ones natin, how we can promote bamboo vis-a-vis our competitors in China. Already we know that definitely mas mahal ang ano natin, capitalization, mas expensive ang ano natin machinery equipment, no? That's why hindi tayo makapag-compete dyan sa mga yan. But yun nga, baka yun ang pwede natin isang focus, yung agenda, yung roadmap na we can put together at pwedeng i-adapt ng regional councils to make our bamboo development, our national bamboo development in the Philippines something, di ba, that is even better than what we already have. Nakyabang, ano? So those are the...
Basically,
TG.
you're correct, no?
May I. Opon.
Sige, as Asa.
Yung sinasabi mo, I hope my audio is okay. Yung sinasabi kasi nating roadmap, yun na yung mga matatagal ng ginagawa nila, Popon, am I right? When PBSAI,
it started in 2016, roadmap, bamboo roadmap, developed, written by Dr. Tesoro. And when I looked at it, well, you will appreciate it the way it really lasts a lot.
Tuloy ko lang ang comment ko. Bali, kasi yung roadmap na ginawa na ng in the past, mukhang nanatiling roadmap. So, so even yung, like my experience in Palawan, nung time, Gigi, while we were engaging with you sa Surge, you know, our project in Palawan, we initiated to start the roadmap, quote-unquote, again. Kasi kanya-kanya sila. Kanya-kanya yung agencies based sa kanilang mandate. Di ba?
Yes. Totoo.
So, hindi nila malaman saan pupunta yun. And one thing na lumabas, yung enforcement policies, wala for bamboo. Like yung licensing, yung ganyan, wala yan. Yung pag nag-travel ka, nag-transport ng bamboo from one municipality to the other municipality, paano nila sisingilin yun? Walang batas for that. So it just came out during the consultation. What I'm trying to say is, ang gusto kong i-react dun sa roadmap na ginawa before, para siyang typical na map planning ng ano ba, you know? Para nanatili siyang gano'n. Kasi yung process itself, hindi siya yung galing sa mandate, papunta dun sa broader objective. Pero ako, ang nakikita ko sa atin ngayon, ang mas practical concern ko is, sino stakeholder natin? Who are we representing? Who are we? Kasi bago makipag-engage sa government, kailangan matibay-tibay yung ating propositions. Pero sino yung tayo? Diba? Doon pumasok ang idea ni Bem, na pick up ko yung sinasabi ni Bem kanina. At yung sinabi din ni TG, na pwede tayong nag-advocate ng roadmap na yon, yung emerging, yung evolving roadmap na more relevant, more practical sa defined stakeholder. So, halimbawa, land banking. Umpisa tayo sa land banking. Kasi kahit wala tayong study, baseline study on bamboo, alam natin hindi pa siya ganun kasikat. Di ba? So we need nursery. We need to gather interested farmers na i-develop nila yung kanilang mga bamboo. Kasi meron yung mga by the way. By the way lang yung bamboo na tumubo sa garden nila o tumubo sa may community. I mean, yung gana. So, I hope my message is coming across. Very practical lang. Yung ibang mga naandito sa atin, yung mga na-invite na kamag-anak, siguro they can share kung may
Let's go around and get their views as well.
So, yun ang suggestion ko lang, while we coming up with the roadmap is a good idea when we engage with the government. Yun lang ang point ko. But right now, hindi yan ang priority ko. kung ako ang tatanungin mo, I have to build my constituents. Sino tayo? Sino yung interest groups? Diba? So, ang strategy na nakikita ko doon, one is yung financing. You have to have a kind of support na pwedeng gawin para maingganyo yung mga pwede natin makasama sa road mapping. While at the same time, I'm not saying wag natin asikasuhin yung iba pa. Like yung pag-develop ng baseline. Like, ano yung mga policies ba sa Bicol ngayon, di ba? Ano yung initiatives ng LGUs na pwede siyang ongoing. Pero ang main track mo, nagpupush ka na. You are not waiting na may mangyari later. Pero pwede siyang yung kaya lang muna natin. Sige, TG, excited ka na mag-react si TG. Yeah.
Right now, we're just getting a lot of inputs. And isasala pa natin yan as we refine whatever inputs we have into actionable plans. So at the moment, let me just go around the table and ask other views. Let's start. Albert. Then we will follow with Don. Then Butch. Okay, Albert. Ka muna.
Sa akin lang is tama. I agree with the views of Azel and Mayor Bem na iniunta from the practical side, considering our organization is a purely voluntary one. No? So, kadaklan sa tuyad ay paman araw kayo na time na pwedeng i-devote dyan sa project na yan. At this, especially at this early stage wherein kadakol na kaipuhan ng mga gibuhon pa. No? So, but we can maybe identify kung sisayang pwedeng makaibanan sa team. Yan. Tayo yan sa mga susunod ng planning workshop siguro. Yan. Pero ay ma-remark pa lang ako naman sa quick lang naman sa presentation ni Pons Kasubago katong how far the bamboo development has reached worldwide. I never knew na may mga arog na kayan pala ng mga products. Itong mga pinakihiling mo Kasubago. First time ko itong nahiling.
So evidently, we need to inform our stakeholders. Generally. I just learned about bamboo 2 years ago. So let's say 2018 when we visited that CS plant. And I was, wow, ito palang bamboo. I always thought of it as a poor man's lumber. So I'm still a student. I'm learning a lot. But while learning, I know that we can do something because time is running out. So let's do what we can do.
Sa mga day pa sa mga day masyadong midbid ba si Pons, tantay na po siyang maestro dahil he is also a piano virtuoso. So who knows Pon later, makadevelop kita ng piano na bako lang sukis ang made of bamboo, kundi the entire body kang piano ay bamboo. Di ba?
Nasa product development ka na kaya. Thank you, Albert. So can we have also, thank you for your inputs. Basically, what we want to do is, what can we really do as an organization, given that our capability is based on volunteerism to a large extent. In terms of financing, how do we leverage our existing with other potential partners? But one thing is evident. We need to raise the awareness to a larger audience on bamboo, to a larger audience in Bicol, so that they will recognize the potential of bamboo. Perhaps we will be able to get more people with more land holdings. For example, I talked to one of my rich friends. You probably heard of Rabanera in Naga City. So, yan yung dati may-ari ng UNC. So, rich family. When I mentioned about the bamboo, sige, Pons, meron kaming maliit na piece of land there sa Camarines Sur. Siguro 70 hectares yun. We could probably use your bamboo project there. Di ba gano'n? We need more of those. Maraming idle lands eh. So privately, marami tayong mako-connect based on our network. These are doable. IEC, what I'm doing to you is basically part of information education campaign because I raise your awareness on bamboo. I'm sure we can do this to a larger audience. once we are agreed on it, this is one of the low-lying fruits. So we are very conscious of our capability. We cannot promise everything. What we can do is what we must do, just to add value to the bamboo journey. We are not even proposing to take the driver's seat. Yeah, we are probably proposing, is there a better way of doing these things? Have a look at our plan suggestion on the roadmap that you have crafted in 2016. Perhaps it needs updating based on the following reasons, etc. So we can do that. So let's listen to others. No? Don, can we have your views? You're still on mute, huh? Sige.
Maraming hapon, taga-boss.
Maraming hapon man, Don.
Actually, may mga nakahuro na akong ibang grupo na involved sila sa bamboo production. Parang kan Pugos Bicol, ang presidente sa Legazpi, Mr. Jaime Rañese. Nakikipag-meeting naman sila sa mga government agencies, sa mga private companies regarding bamboo farming. Tapos nakahurong ko man ng TESDA, igwa ng training regulation sa TESDA na sa mga bamboo farmers, pwedeng magkaigwa kay National Certificate from TESDA kapag natapos nila sa training. Tinaon na sa kuya, so kung si focal person sa TESDA, si Mr. Ed Mamba, actually dahil lang kami nagkakaano sa panahon, right? Kami pag-meeting ni. Pero siguro by this month mag-meeting kami dua. Then nakahurong ko man si Patrick Chodoro, siya sa Bamboo Solutions Development Incorporated, karong private company na involved sa bamboo production. So ayun nga ni ang advice sa kuya, maray nga ni Sir Pons na napahiling mo sa video sa DTI. Ang advice sa kuya ni Mr. Patrick Chodoro is to coordinate with DTI, Region 5 or Provincial Office. Albay. Ito nga ni sintang mga programa, actually priority project kan DTI mo niyan is bamboo production. Tama itong sabi ni Ate Bem na actually ang DTI kaya 20 years ko nang gamitin yan sa construction industry. Ang mga taga-DTI, dahil yan nagbihiro kapag kada yung pagkakalampag, arog man sa ibang government agency, dapat talaga roal daw o every mo sinda. Kadai man niya nagrarani sa tao, dapat kita ang marani sa inda. So sa presentation mo, nahiling ko na ikaw ang mga pondo para sa trainings, free trainings, halik sa DTI. Tapos igwa man sindang financing, halik sa DTI. Tapos naaraman ko man na igwang mga government agencies sa Department of Agriculture, sa DNR, na ikoki pondo na nakaalat sa bamboo production. Kay puwan ta sa sindang tap o i-connect. So regarding financing, sa hiling ko, wala kang magiging problema. Duma naman sa mga pilot area, igo ako kay 1 hectare na nasa boundary kan Ligaw City and Uwas na non-irrigated land. Pwede tayo itong gibo na pilot project area. Igo man akong nasa 6 hectares na actually nasa upland barangays kan Uwas. Actually sa Uwas, dakulo na ngunya ng mga palay farmers, papabakal na nila ang sa indang mga daga, mostly mga Chinese ang buyer. Na pirmi ng lugi. Pag nagtanong ka kay Paroy, tapos pag-ani mo, babakalon, hababa, lugi na pirmi. Tapos kung igwa pang bagyo, igwa pang eruption kan mayon, hindi bako ng viable sa Uwas actually. Bako lang sa Uwas puro sa entire Albay rice farming. So dakol na non-irrigated land. Pero yun nga ang direksyon, araw kan Pugos Bicol, ang direksyon kan Pugos Bicol, pagbaba ninda sa ground ay ma-organize ninda mga bamboo farmers. Halimbawa, Uwas Bamboo Farmers Association, tapos ipapa-accredit ninda sa Department of Labor o kaya sa Cooperative Development Authority. So para makapag-avail sinda kan mga programa. Araw kan pag naging co-op, araw sa farmers cooperative sa Uwas, sa sarong barangay, naka-avail sinda ki rice harvester halik sa Department of Kadar. Sa DA pala, sa DA. So, siguro, yan ang suggestion ko. Primero, ma-organize sa ground kung mga magiging bamboo farmers. Tapos matasin mga pre-trainings para magamit nila.
Okay.
Yung tabi. Salamat tabi sa gabos.
Salamat Don. Those are very, very practical suggestions. You know, one thing for sure, what you've mentioned is there are other actors on the ground that we are not aware of, and we need to reach out to them because they may be ahead of the journey. Ang nakikita lang natin yung malapit-lapit sa atin, ano? So baka mayroon pang iba sa atin sa Bicol na well ahead na kailangan lang natin sabayan o tulungan o isama sa journey, makikisama tayo. So totoo yun, ano? And we have to, as you mentioned, organizing farmers into a co-op, into a community so that they can avail grants from DTI or DOLE or DANR for specific activities because there are available grants and fundings from various government institutions given that there's a prioritization of bamboo. And DA already declared that bamboo is a high value product. In fact, there's already an allocated budget of several billion pesos for initiatives on bamboo. Now, how to harness those? We need the skill set to prepare organizations, prepare business plans so that we can avail of the grants or funding available. Can we listen to Rene? Do you have my colleague Rene?
Good afternoon. Batiin ko lang si Agnes. Dati tayong partner sa credit nung nasa PBSP ako sa RBAP. Remember, mga 2000 sa Small and Medium Enterprise Credit sa Philippine Business for Social Progress.
Oo, hindi mo in-approve yung aking proposal. PBSP, pati nung nasa LGU ako, nag-submit ako sa'yo. Hindi mo in-approve Anyway, another chance to work together.
Yung comment ko lang is, tatlo tayo sa tripartite, di ba? Ibalon, SIM, Philippine Bamboo Advocates. Yung isang value added kasi natin as a group yung aspeto ng convenor. Kasi di ba sinasabi natin, tignan mo yung Bicol Development Plan. 2 years yung Bicol Development Plan, tapos 116 beneficiaries for 4 provinces. Napakaliit nun Tapos sinasabi nyo pa kanina na yung roadmap marami pang pwedeng baguhin. Tapos medyo mabagal, mahina yung buy-in. So tayo as a group initially, pwede natin gampanan talaga yung pagiging convenor. Baba tayo sa area, consult people, consult government. Tayo naman as a group, yung 3 grupo natin, we can bring in practically all sectors. Si Agnes can bring in the bankers. Ako may connection din ako sa church. We can bring in si yung kapatid ni Popo nasa parish. We can bring in the church. We can bring in the academe. And then through meetings, through consultations, we can sharpen the plans and then from there, pick up ano yung mga small things we can do immediately. Kaya nga, sabi natin, yung nursery parang madaling gawin kasi propagation, hindi mo kailangan malaking area. At least kahit paano, makaka-start tayo ng initiatives. Pero very critical yung aspect ng convening, yung proseso ng consultation para matalas talaga yung programming natin. Tapos tayo naman, pag pumunta na tayo doon sa kanya-kanya nating sector, banking sector, economic sector, nasa government tayo or may sarili tayong business, pwede na tayong mag-pick up ng bits and pieces for our own. Tapos napulot natin siya doon sa mga consultation activities na ginagawa natin. At least tatakbo tayo. Tapos eventually naman, in the long run, kung halimbawa pag i-aggregate na natin yung ating magagawa for the next 3, 4, 5 years, most likely magbubunga naman yun ng malaki-laking impact.
That's very good insight. Yeah. Ben. Reaction daw.
I-carpe diem ko lang sa mga naririnig ko kasi baka makalimutan, senior citizen na rin I think Gigi, your your proposal for a visual branding is actually emerging, both from all generations. So maganda yung sinabi kanina rin ni Don at saka ni Rene about actually yun ang gustong-gusto ko sanang i-propose as a word for the brand, which is yung synergy. Kasi sa gobyerno, yan ang wala. Andali, maingay dito sa si DTI, meron na yan roadmap na pinadala na rin natin kay DA. Si DA, may roadmap yan. Probably hindi Bicol, pero meron na siyang generic. Dali lang yan kumuha ng mga template sa mga counterpart nila. Si DNR, yung NGP, meron na rin yan template. So, sa gobyerno, hindi mo matanong sa template, magagaling sila magsulat. Kaya yung mga roadmap na yan, just me, ang gagaling nila gumawa ng mga roadmaps. So, ano yung positioning natin? Balik dun kay Asel kanina. I think yung positioning natin will be to evaluate lahat ng mga roadmaps na yan. And then, ano yung mga gaps, ano yung hindi nagagawa on the ground. So that pag gusto natin maaga sa for example, sa branding journey natin, like in a social media, we can already name ourselves like Project 4B or Bicol Bamboo Convener or Bicol Bamboo Synergy something. And then there's a call, join us. Tapos pinapakita doon ni Gigi what bamboo can do and what it is for each Bicolano. Kasi kahit na ang dami nating papag-uusapan na ang gagandang produkto, kung wala tayong tanim, baka kumuha tayo sa Quezon ng bamboo. So, ang imperative talaga, yung basic, doon natin ilagay yung sarili natin, yung pagpapatanim. Kasi all of the products can come later pag meron ng tanim. Yung sinasabi nating bula na meron industrial bamboo, di ba nag-finance kami, so we went to the field. Ang liliit ng bamboo nila. These are not even the improved varieties that we can source from. Nag-source kami sa Bukidnon. Nagbili pa kami online, pinadala sa LBC. Imagine mo, ganun ang sourcing. And si DA, I won't mention the name, ang tanong niya sa akin, sabi ko, ma'am, anong pondo natin? Anong nakalagay sa work and financial plan natin? Sabi niya, nursery establishment. Sabi ko, saan kayo kukuha ng planting materials? Nag-iisip pa nga kung saan. O imagine kung ganon. So, there's an opportunity for us to start the mass production, and that can be our positioning for now, aside from evaluating all the roadmaps and then telling government, hey, these are your commitments, but these are the gaps. So, kumbaga tayo yung conscience, and then let's get ourselves into the ground, which is magpapatanim. Yun ang importante kasi pag marami na tayong bamboo base, everyone is going to deal with us. Kasi walang produkto kung wala tayo. Diba? Okay, yun lang naman ang ating reaction.
Yung in-import yung planting nodes or ano tawag nun? Yung planting material.
Bamboo nodes.
Bamboo nodes sa Bukidnon. These are supposed to be giant bamboo, right?
Opo.
Ano, hindi hindi lumaki? Naging
actually, ano pa siya, Pons, pagdating mo, nilagay namin sa polybag, tapos nagpapalan prep pa kami ngayon kasi itatanim. So that was around March, April, May, June. 4 na buwan na sa polybag.
Tama yun. You need to let it grow for 8 months before you can transplant it. Yeah?
Actually, ang advice nila 4 months na. Opo.
Sundin nyo yung established practice na.
Yeah, may technology pang dapat tayo aralin.
Meron technology, by the way, nag-conduct ng training ang Philippine Bamboo Society of Advocates on that one. Yung proper growing.
Tsaka itugon ko lang kay Don, yung pag-o-organize ng mga farmers, alam mo, when you organize, dapat aspirational din yan. Like, why do you organize them into bamboo groups? Because you are showing them the products. If the short term is just to avail funds, let me just tell you, galing na ako dyan, Noy, short, ano yan, kumbaga flash in the pan. After makuha yung pera, wala na. So, ginawa ko na yan sa kamote, nangyari na yan sa coconut. So, marami nang been there, done that. So, we do not organize people because of the fund available. We organize them because there's an aspirational value for organizing them. That's being very responsible citizen. Marami kasi nag-organize na, sige, magdole kayo, ano kayo, para makakuha kayo ng pondo. For me, I don't do that kasi you fail these people right after they get the funds. So, yun ang ano natin. Aspirational dapat tayo.
Okay, good. There are still some people na hindi pa natin natatawag. So, I have Marion and Cora and Antonio Molina. Is that Albert?
That's the brother of...
Marion, are you there? Can you have a few?
Tony is the brother of Albert.
Okay. Marion? Or anyone that's ready. Marion, Cora, or Tony Molina. Butch, how about Butch? Okay.
Yes, Bon.
Yes,
Okay po, Bon.
Long time no hear from you, Butch.
Butch, open your video so we can see.
Mahina internet.
Kahit mahina, gwapo ka naman.
Gusto ko
ako mahina nga.
Ipaling yung kagawa si...
Yes, yes.
Taga. Mahina ang signal ni Butch. Hindi ka namin maintindihan, Butch.
I-type mo nga sa chat. Anyway, input mo. Dennis, are you there?
Garo ka nag-spirit of the glass.
Si Marion, dahil pa nag-isimbag eh. So, okay kung ano, if you're ready.
Seryoso.
Are you there?
Hello. Hello, spirit of the glass na.
Are you there? O yan na si Dr. Dennis. Oh, Dr. Dennis.
Ay, Udoy.
How's your stomach?
Udoy.
Dennis, baka pwede ka na mag-ano.
Nag-chat siya. Si Dennis said, "Hi, Udoy. Makulog na pati payo. Dehydrated. Sige kong ihi."
Naku, dito po. Oh my. Sige, di ba?
Let me pose, while waiting for the others to input, let me pose this question now. Kasi marami na tayo na-pick up. For the immediate term, yung 2022, can we identify top 3 to 5 strategic initiatives that we can gain and have traction on the ground with good tangible impact, at least financing cost? So that's the question. What do you think would be our 3 to 5 strategic initiatives? What's emerging now?
Okay. Hans.
Yep.
Hans, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that question, Parang beauty contest, I was about to say that while others are going through their answers to your difficult question. Number one, as a
I'm from Bicolandia.
Yeah. Number one, tama yung question mo, but as I was saying a while ago, we're happy that we have all of these views. I think we are saying, or we're on the same plane basically, no? We're all in agreement with a little, differences, but we're saying the same thing, but a little bit differently lang. Okay? So, we have this recorded naman, and you can go back once. I noticed that, halos nag-intersperse naman, nag-interconnect lahat ng mga sinasabi natin. So, from a planning standpoint, ang tanong mo, ganito dapat, Pons, we plan on the basis of a corporate or a business outfit or entity, no? We can divide, hindi naman yan this minus this or less this. We can divide our doables or objectives into long term and then short term. Okay? So in other words, we do not have to cancel out the things that we cannot do immediately. Okay? So yung question natin po,
I agree.
Yeah, even the long term that we can do, we can already lay the groundwork today. So to make it less difficult for us kasi we're on the same plane nga. Yung iba mas gusto mag tactical, mag plans and programs, mag pilot projects. That's okay. Kasi nga that is the doable within the short-term period. Okay? But as a concern, we can do the long-term, yung sinasabi nating value added, value proposition. That is where we can come in also on that score. We cannot be silent on that. You know why, Pons? Because we're not entrepreneurs. We are not entrepreneurs. We are just trying to do our share in real, tangible projects. But we are not, we cannot compete as entrepreneurs, probably over the long term. Kaya nga dyan papasok yung sinasabi kong strategic planning natin. Divide natin into long term, medium term, and then yung short term and pilot projects. We can do all of these things all at the same time. So again, yung response.
Insert lang ako.
Yeah.
Well,
Insert lang ako sandali.
Sige.
Very quickly lang. Pwedeng ganito na lang, TG and then Pons. Apat na lang ang pag-ikot, apat, dalawang short term, dalawang long term. Yan. Pagkatapos, yung secretariat na lang mag-sort.
Yes.
Para lahat naman tayo may chance na mag-voice out. Dalawang short, low-lying, dalawang long term. I think that's going to be a happy marriage. Ano, Asel?
Yeah. All in the same place.
Okay.
Yeah, we are fully aware that we cannot build Rome overnight. Just like the bamboo, we have to start planting first the seed or the nodes. Let it grow, nurture it, and then transfer it to the planting site. And then nurture it again. And then after maturity, that's the time it generates the regular. We will also grow with the bamboo. We are just starting. We cannot be instantly a bamboo count that can be harvested. So, just like nature, we will give our time to. In fact, yung buong MOA of the last 3 years, parang seed lang yan. Wala nang nangyayari. Wala yan. Pero actually may nabubuo. And then later on, you will see may sumibol na sa plant. And that's how we are directing this. We will just like a plant, just like a tree. It starts with the seed first, and then it grows. So we are cognizant of that. But we have come to a point that we know we can identify at least 2 short-term achievable goals for 2022, and we can plan ahead for 2 more long-term goals. And as far as they can be the top priorities, but in alignment with what TG is saying, we cannot drop any of those ideas. No, we can make it least priority at this time, but we will need to capture all of them because they will have an interplay later on in the scheme of things, in the whole journey, the bamboo journey. And we will get a lot more of ideas if we follow the suggestion of Rene. Let's say we hold that let's say a convener group role. Even for this year, if we organize that, I'm sure we will be able to pick up more insights and experience coming from the other actors. Yeah? But devising a plan, updating the roadmap by convening more stakeholders, the key stakeholders, I think it's in the right direction, and that will just strengthen the whole process. Ang problema kasi sa gobyerno, hindi naman masyado nag-uusap-usap. But if you look at the other regions who are ahead, for example, the Region 2, 40 municipalities and cities have already done their resolutions committed to bamboo. Sa atin, ilan? Don't know. So we can borrow from them.
Okay. We're gonna hear from others too, no?
Yeah. Now, let's listen to others. Si Dennis, hindi pa nagsasalita.
Oo, kasi magko-5 na eh.
It's 4:41. Okay. So any other thoughts? At least I captured that. We can put that into an update of our plan. I have that template already. And later on, I'll pass around the working plan and have your comments as well. So I'm keeping this working plan live, and I will update that with the inputs that we have today, and then circulate it to the rest, so that you can input further your refinements. Okay? So I don't know kung Tony
Once
or
nilagay
Marion.
na ni Butch yung chat yung ano niya, contribution niya sa discussion.
Okay, make sure we get that copied.
I'm currently the GM of a large cooperative based in Chaong, Quezon. I'm reading his note. With 2,500 hog growers, farmer members. Although co-ops, our area is far away from Bicol, I am searching for ways on how I can steer the co-op to other relevant livelihood activities, so presumably for bamboo farming, by engaging the DA, Department of Agri, and other organizations. For the past 3 years, I have convinced the board to engage the DA, especially now that the cooperative is a DA-accredited civil society organization. So that's a note from Butch. So I think open siya sa bamboo farming. In other words, meron siyang sariling promise for that.
Yeah, that's valuable information. We will take note of that. Hindi yan ma-erase sa record?
Hindi naman.
Pag
Okay.
nag-save ng recording, kasama yan.
Okay. Sige, na-pick up ko na rin. More? As we approach 5 o'clock, I want to end hard stop 5 o'clock. So if there are no other insights, any last lingering thoughts that you feel you need to express before I ask Dennis for closing remarks?
Dito pa nagdadangog si iba, no?
They You're asking them, but
Makulog na daw ang payo ni Dennis.
makulog na. Well, then I will revert back to TG. TG, I think we've discussed a lot already. And in my program, we are basically doing the last bit, yung agreeing on the top 5 priorities or top 3 to 5 priorities on the short term. And the thing is, once we have agreed on this, I will leave it up to the board of UP Ibalon to assign focal persons on each of these, or a champion for each of these top 3 strategies or top 2 initiatives. Yeah, so kailangan mayroong champion. And can I leave that to the board?
In that connection, Paul, so since we're winding down already, number 1, Agnes, Azel, Rene, we've taken down, and of course, Gigi, Don, this is recorded, no? So rest assured, I'll give a copy to Pons also, diba? And Dennis, so you could track down the arguments. Some of the arguments talaga are really, spot on, talagang nagkakatugma-tugma tayo. So we just said it differently. And there are lumalabas various ways to look at this. But essentially, yun nga, merong mga big ticket objectives, and then there are doable or short-term objectives, no? And lumalabas din talaga yung ating role is a big question mark that we can already address even at this early juncture, We want to be a good player. We can be a convener. We could be a proponent of a more updated roadmap, so to speak. Sabi nga ng ano natin, ng grupo natin, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Maganda naman yung ginawa ng mga ninuno ni Capons, ni Maestro Pons. But why not? We are all UP, we all have this DNA of UP PayUp students na makukulit din, and we can come up with our own updated and probably bigger dream. No, that's where the long-term and bigger ticket accounts can come in. But we need to do our tactical and our short-term and our pilot projects just the same. That will make us probably active players as entrepreneurs in the bamboo development, because yung constituents natin, I'm speaking on behalf of the UP Ibalon Association. Kung tatanungin tayo, o sige, kung mag-i-invest na kami dyan, what's in it for us, di ba? So those are the things that we need to answer also over the short term, medium term, etc. Okay, so Pons, just to summarize, these are the things we can do from the UP Ibalon alumni side. But just like we said a while ago, this is a tripartite agreement. Probably after this, we can also meet with the other two groups. Of course, you're there representing IMDM and Rene here also. What about the bamboo group, no? Kasi kailangan i-juxtapose natin lahat yung roles natin, and that's another planning framework, di ba? But from our side sa UP Ibalon, I'm happy na andyan yung mga stewards natin, Agnes, Arnel, Albert, of course, sila Mac, who are not here, but should continue to contribute. So on that score, Pons, we can break down into, we can break down our discussion into, yun nga, as suggested by Agnes, doable long-term and doable short-term, need not be 2 or 3, but at least mabigyan natin ng focus yung aspirations natin, and at the same time, yung tinatawag na doable pilot projects natin para may nakikita na on the production side. Okay, Pons?
Yeah. Okay. Any other inputs, insights? What's going in my mind right now is that, okay, we need to agree on the prioritization, but perhaps we can use a tool that we use in the oil industry. Before we do prioritization, we need to agree on the top criteria on how we can prioritize. For example, what's our capacity or capability as an organization? What can we really do? That's one way, one criteria. Second, what's really doable, or what's our other part? So I will look into those criteria, and then from those criteria, we look into all those ideas suggested and rank them, and then you'll be able to see what will be surfacing as the top priorities that are doable on the short term, and on the long term, what we can build on so that we can have a, let's say, a medium and long-term growth that will now evidently grow us as an organization, as a tripartite body for a really good brand proposition. So we need to steer it that way so that we can gain that aspired for brand recognition and brand positioning, and for our value proposition for our key stakeholders. So let's consolidate all these inputs, and over the next couple of weeks, we can finalize a draft plan coming from the minutes of this workshop. And for me, I think that is the way to go. There are definitely things that we can do. And for instance, we can plant and we can do convening activities. At the same time, we can also continue our education on bamboo. And for that, on that note, I would like to mention that in September, which is considered the Bamboo Month, PBSAI is sponsoring a technical conference on bamboo. So I would like UP Ibalon to be very much a part of that as a participant or even a contributor if you have a technical paper on bamboo present. But that is one way by which we will recognize, kumbaga makikilala natin PBSAI and how it's also trying to position itself in the bamboo industry. And that's also for our continuous learning process. Yes, Ben?
I already sent my 2 and 2 on the group chat. Let me just end by reminding everyone, we have an opportunity to influence our regional DA. The budget of government is starting this July. That's the budget call month. So if we are intent on the convener role, DA is a very good NDTI to influence. So kung ang work and financial plan nila sa bamboo is just nursery establishment, we may want to influence them on moving a little bit higher and getting more funds. So kailangan lang po sigurong mag-engage. So nagsabi na rin ako kay Red Rodel na the convergence group will meet with him in the short future, probably this July. So any inputs that they can use for their work and financial plan and for our aligned with our agenda, wag natin pong sayangin ang July. That's a budget call month.
Okay, that's good. That would be probably one of the doable things that we have to do, TG. And one more thing, I see the need for us to introduce ourselves to Jay Aguilar, the one who, Jay Ablan ba yun? Who presented the Bicol DTI performance. We need to interface with them because they're the ones sitting in the Regional Bamboo Industry Development Council.
Ano na lang, Pons, dumaan na lang sa regional director, takababayan ko ito, si Diggs Aguilar.
Mas marami. Kilala mo.
Dumaan na sa NAIO po. Just tell me.
Itong sulat ng ginibo kato sa regional director sa DA, ganun din gawin natin sa DTI.
Opo, just let me know kung nuarin ka mo gusto maki-meeting kay Diggs. I will, again, like what I did with Director Rodel, I'll help you with that. And kung ayawan pa si G, if it's, I think it's a low-lying fruit, if you can already create a short video of what we intend to do, parang ano lang, teaser. These young people know that very well, how to do teaser media presence para we catch the attention of government and the other private sector. Kaya yan kan mga aki ngunyan. Libre lang naman tabi. Pons, libre man ang FB page. So we can start creating our FB page with some videos.
I also would like to suggest, KGG, is it possible for us to create our own P4B website as part of media presence?
Wag ng website, mahal ka pa, magastos ka pa sa host. Bako na uso yan. Page na lang. Libre. Libre ang FB page.
Tapos hindi na ngayon ng website.
Tapos ang content kaya na ng mga aki. Kaya na ni Gigi ang content.
I have some ideas, but I am not the expert. So Gigi, I leave it up to you. Please take that role. Kasi you're the expert.
FB page is okay.
It will take me 10 years to come up with a program.
Visioning workshops, mga mapaluwas sa tuya. Anong brand kang bamboo? Mga yan. So, baka pwede nyo matabagan. Then, kung may mga writers kita, yan ang pwedeng magtabang na.
All right. Okay, so, well, it's 4:56. TG has already given his closing remarks. Let me just end on by thanking each and every one who participated in this workshop. I'm sure you found it very enlightening and productive. Given the very rich insights coming from ourselves, our members. Just imagine if we are more working on this, there will be more ideas and alignment of our action plans. So on that note, I'd like to thank each and every one. TG, Bam, Rene, Don, Hazel, Jonathan, Butch, Cora, Tony, and Albert, who are still here. And Let's look forward to a more complete plan in the next few weeks to take advantage of the opportunities already presented before us, as mentioned by them. Okay?
So, kailan, mag-schedule na ba yung binanggit ni TG kanina, the meeting para sa tripartite? Because we haven't come up with a plan yet, di ba? Yun yung step na yun. When do we schedule that? Para ma-meet din ng Ibalon ang PBSAI, tsaka yung IMDM.
Yeah, well, that one, meeting IMDM, we can schedule that in August. All right?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Pons.
Have a good...
And si Dennis, nandiyan pa ba si Dr. Dennis?
Okay, get well soon, Dennis.
Get well soon, Dennis. Good work.
All
Nice
that hard work,
meeting you.
nagkaroon tuloy ng...
Nice meeting
Okay,
you,
Don, thank you for participating.
Thank you, Sir Pons.
Okay.
Jonathan
Take care.
Montales, thank you. Butch, thank you. Mading Coran, nagkaturog na garita, alas 2 na sa Canada, sir.
So, Teach, just one thing.
Yeah.
When you...
Susuko lumaban, wag